rail's need for financial accountability and an audit. In the back of the room, there's a petitioner that's you're welcome to sign a petition requesting for financial audit, because we don't have any financial audit on the rail. If I may give you some information, I was a former senator, and financial audits are good things to have, because it reviews the terms what went wrong in a sense, okay, or things that need to be corrected. Whenever a government says that they don't need a financial audit, that means they have something to hide, or they don't want to disclose what they're doing. Okay, secondly, alternatives rail technology such as maglev levitation. Okay, we have one person who's going to speak about maglev levitation, and others are welcome if they want to, or even welcome to give some points of interest that you may want. Now, here are some bullet points for the basis of today's public hearing. Number one, the city and county of Honolulu's government consisted of Mayor Kurt Caldwell and Hart, H-A-R-T, and the city council refuses to have an open public hearing for specifically A, the disclosure of the rail's over-budgeted and over-cost finances to date and for completion. And B, the opportunity for the public to be involved in expenditures of public tax dollars and formally give personal input. Okay? You have public hearings in the city council and the state legislature in the past, but they're pertaining to specific things that you don't freely get to talk about. Okay? It's pertaining to subject matter topics that they want to discuss only. Okay? And then sometimes you want to freely express yourself, because you may have general thoughts in terms of opinions, and you're welcome to do that here. If you were in the legislature or the city council, they would stop you because you're not talking about the subject matter topic specifically. Okay. Number two, this is a public hearing asking Hart and Mayor Caldwell to respond to 7 specific questions frequently asked by the public on the city administration steel and steel rail. A letter dated July 26, 2017 by the Financial Accountability for Rail Mass Transit Association. And you know, sorry, those who await the ladies are members of that association. You're welcome to join us all. It was established for the purpose of working together, okay, on the concerns of the financial accountability of the rail. It was hand-delivered to invite Hart and Mayor Caldwell to attend today's public hearing to answer the 7 questions given to you today. And it was going to show it on the overhead projector, but we found out that the technology has changed so much that they didn't give us the old one, but you have to heat that over, basically. So I'm sorry about that. But you do have handouts with enough copies of that 7 questions, okay? So if you use that as a guide, it'll pretty much tell you what the concerns are financially in regards to the rail. Third, the definition of what is financial responsibility. According to my research, the answer is definition: being physically accountable to revenues received and expenditures spent efficiently and productively. The expenditures must not be incurred beyond revenues budgeted that is received. Also, two, is meaning that quality income and expenditure costs must be publicly reported. You know, we try to get those reports right now from Hart. We're not able to get them. And it's public information, but they don't want to disclose it. Mayor Caldwell, Hart, and the City Council failed to do so with the public funds. 4, the public taxpayers desire their financial accountability from the city government. Hawaii State legislators are requesting, and they have been requesting for several years now, for financial accountability of the true cost of building the city rail, the expenditures and the use of the past 0.5% state excise tax given to the city for the rail, and the past federal rail funds expended by the city. As you well know, the federal has stopped giving the city any money because of non-accountability. As evidence of fiscal non-physical accountability. There's a handout given to you out there. I'm sorry again, it's what the overhead projector. It shows over the years from 2008 to 2016 how that price tag has grown. And it's still growing perfectly. Okay. Now they say that projected-wise, the rail won't be complete until 2020. And now it's projected to about $10 billion. Imagine what it can go up even more. Okay. And that's poor financial planning. And I'm going to say that very openly from my past experience because I was a budget analyst. And even the Federal Transit Administration, known as FTA, questions the absence of financial accountability and the lack of a concrete financial plan. The Financial Accountability for Rail Mass Transit Association is awaiting their request for a financial audit of HART from FTA. We sent a letter to them, and basically we're not receiving a response at all. And they're waiting for the city to respond. But I think the federal should go ahead and do an audit. Unfortunately, the HART board refuses to do a financial audit to disclose the lack of financial accountability. The denial of an audit is a clear declaration of lacking accountability and a cover of wrongdoings. And fifth, in closing, a financial audit is necessary to be financially accountable to taxpayers' dollars. It's all money. We work hard for it, very frankly. You want to know where every single dollar is going to, the use of public funds, expenditures. An audit will disclose all monetary movements. At this time, Hawaii's taxpayers cannot financially afford an increase or extension of the 0.5% excise tax because of the following. And the association went over this and we discovered many things. And the reasons are, A, Hawaii currently has the highest cost of living in the nation. You know, imagine what you pay for half a gallon of milk. It's over $5 now, about $5.50. That's on sale, basically. Okay. In California, and it's about half that price, basically. Okay. And B, the excise tax is the result of low and middle income families and senior citizens living on fixed incomes, which is mainly Social Security. Over 60% of Hawaii's population are senior citizens here in Honolulu alone. And C, in reality, Hawaii's unemployment is over 10%. The state of Hawaii's calculation of 2 to 3% unemployment is only based on unemployment eligibility of those to collect state unemployment compensation. And how do I know that? Because in my lifetime, I'm 63 years old, and I was between jobs, so I've been unemployed. Okay, so and I collected for 6 months from the state and 6 months from the federal in trying to find a job. And we all know that when you get older, it's harder to find a job, basically, right? Because they don't want to hire the older ones, right? They pay less to the younger ones, when you think about it. But what happened is, after I ended collecting my unemployment compensation, I was no longer considered as part of the statistics for being unemployed. If you go out there in the community, you find out that many people laid off. And the reason that many of the companies use is that reorganization, which is a lame-duck excuse, quite frankly. Okay. And for other reasons too. Then D, Hawaii has the highest percentage of homelessness in the nation. Okay. You have people who are local people, the residents here, but you also have people from the mainland coming here. There are cities in the mainland that give homeless in other parts of the cities in the mainland a one-way ticket. And they say, go to Hawaii. The climate is better, the environment is better. You can live out there on the streets and so forth. They're not going to really bother you, not going to really arrest you in this part of the world, spirit, so to speak. Okay? And you're not affected by the change of the climates. The only time that we really have bad climate is maybe when it's heavy rain, like cold weather, you're talking about maybe 60 degrees compared to the mainland, below 0. Finally, since there is a question of Mayor Caldwell and part lacking financial accountability of the present and future expenses for rail construction, administration, and maintenance, whereby there should be no further extension of the 0.5% GET surcharge and property tax increase for rail. Studies have shown that increases in property tax will do the following. Number 1, create more homeless due to the unaffordability of low, middle, and senior homeowners to pay the property tax. Okay. And like I said, there are many, over 60% of the senior citizens household-wise that own property. Imagine what's going to happen. You know, let me tell you, when I was in the Senate, give you an example. And I was chairman for government operation and housing. And the state, they had housing projects. And basically, like Kukui Gardens, where I got in trouble because I tried to save it. But anyway, what happened is, this for a studio. The studio price, several a year ago, 2 years ago, it was about $1,200 for a studio a month, not including electricity now. Okay. Then for one barrel, you're talking about $1,600 a month. Okay. And that's considered cheap, quite frankly. But how can you afford it? You've been retired for 10 years. You don't make that much money compared to when you retire now, basically. And the value of the dollar is about 50 cents of the dollar right now. Okay. If money is needed to pay for the rail, we suggest that it is proposed legislators to increase the hotel room tax. Many hotel owners are not locally owned, and non-local owned hotels overcharge hotel occupants or visitors and pay the employees low and moderate wages. Thus, hotels are making big profits and can afford to make less profits, whereby hotel visitors or occupants may stay in for even longer. Right now, they stay about 3 days. That's all they can afford. You're talking about $250 a day. And that's the low end in terms of a hotel room in Waikiki. The IDs would can benefit by this by receiving more revenue to pay for the public services. At this time, we're going to begin with the testifiers. Is there a list for testifiers? Barbara? We're going to do it on a first-come, first basis, okay? And then I'm going to also inform you that after this public hearing, the association is going to write a summary in terms of what transpired here. And we're going to send it to all the legislators, the mayor, and the governor, because we did not find an opportunity for public hearing. And before I forget, just like we have he's the president for the association, so right now, make the presentation.
Before I start, we sent out notice to anybody from ARC in here? No?
I'm sorry.
Anybody from ARC? No. Calvin Hulihe'e had gone to ARC and sent in a notice for this meeting today. Anybody from the city council? Anybody? We sent out notice to the city council. Anybody from the state legislature? No. Oh, excuse me.
Presenting Senator Morgan. Senator Morgan's office.
Oh, thank you for coming. Okay. Cost uncertainty for city rail project. 20 miles of guideway and station construction. Project costs star advertising. In 2008, the cost is 3.72 billion. In 2015, it's 3.5 billion. Isn't this unusual? The budget in 2012 is 5.26 billion. Later in 2015, gone to 6.5 billion. December 14, 2014, $5.9 billion. April 16, 2016, $910 million for Ways and Means. The use of funds, $140 million, was placed 2 times in the same line. Where did that money go? We got to the Charter Commission, Barbara and I, to have the board investigate. Nothing happened. March 2016, 6.9 billion. Now, the numbers seems to offset. May 2016, a little further from March, gone to 8.1 billion. The mayor and his 6 council members, Minora, Anderson, Vine, Elefante, Monahan, and Ozawa, had passed recently to continue to build $350 million of everybody's money. They shouldn't be in control of this money. They should be removed from the city council and impeach the mayor. Now, they don't have any financial accountability at all. They didn't report anything that is concrete. How was every dollar spent from the beginning of the real project? A council member told Calvin and I, the mayor and Hop is hiding a lot of stuff, means financial money. Finish the real, but don't tax more. Buy, go and bang. Start advertising. I have here a copy of Natalie Iwasa to prove $140 million was placed 2 times in the use of funds. I have here that Barbara and I went to the Charter Commission to have this $140 million placed 2 times to be investigated. No. They went 2 times. No, they turned the agenda into something else. Now, if you look at the records about this rail project, did we have an honest answer from HOT, City Council, the Mayor, and how many of you really know who voted for the rail? The people didn't vote for the rail. The word ambiguous, the second time they voted, was placed in by Lou Fleming. She told me that the legislature had voted for the rail. So the legislature should be accountable for this rail project. Out of their own power, not our power. If we all stick together, we tell the council and the legislature, no, this project has gone out of control. Billions of dollars. Our kids, grandkids could be paying for it. While they slip away from everything and collect big dollars. Now, in June 2016, Mayor Caldwell requested FTA to give the city until June 17 to provide a more fully developed cost projection of construction of the rail, which he never did. FTA first gave the city until the end of December 16 to address the defect later. The deadline was moved to April 30th, 2017, and it's passed already. And the latest deadline is now September 15, 2017. I have here to prove that what I mentioned in 2012, $5.26 billion. Now, note status, FTA, 1.55 billion. Number one, HUD has received 8.8 billion plus of 1.55 billion. HUD spent 600 million. There's almost $2 billion. Where is it? Number three, 743.7 million in federal funds is still available to HUD. I said no more money for HUD. Now, FTA withholding $500 million until HUD updates its financial plan and submit an acceptable financial recovery plan. B, $243 million, 0.7 million, of fiscal year of 2017, not yet appropriated to HUD. In conclusion, Mayor Caldwell lacked concrete financial accountability. He should be in jail of this expenditure for the rail construction, administration, and future maintenance. Thus, there should be no further extension of the 0.5 GET surcharge and no property taxes increase. This is by God and Pan. Can you folks see that? Can you see it? Finish rail, but don't tax no more. Don't tax more. By God and Pan. He must be our friend for writing this. So if the public out there really wise up to all this inconsistency, we shouldn't get another nickel in taxes. Not another dime or penny. Mayor Caldwell is the biggest thief that I ever seen in my entire life. And I'm going to be 77 years old. Thank you folks very much.
Right, I'm a little shorter. We now have testifiers, okay, and we usually allow about 5 minutes, but you know, we're very open about it, I think, okay. And then don't be alarmed if you don't see a big crowd of people here, I mean. This is an open time for testimonies and presentation, so inform your families, your friends, neighbors, and others in the community. You know, we need to take action now. And then I really believe in the grassroots approach by sending out the information. Take as many handouts as you want back there at the signing table and distribute it to your neighbors, friends, and family members, and the general public. And then make them aware of what's happening. Well, when they start increasing taxes because of those speak out, who do we have to blame? Ourselves. Okay? Why? Because we're not speaking out. We're only able to complain after the fact. Let me tell you something from a legislative standpoint. I was in office for 28 years. You know that basically the legislators are afraid of you, the taxpayers, the voters here in Hawaii. They won't say that, but basically you make it known to them that they represent you. Okay? In the back of their mind, every single day they are reminded of that. But they're going to show that they're of statute, basically. But you have to tell them what you want. Otherwise, they're going to do what they think that you want or what they want. Okay? So now it's time to speak up. So don't be disappointed about only a number of us here. Go out and circulate that information. Okay, now we have the testifiers. The first testifier is Bischoff. Oh, by the way, before Stephen comes up, I have here a packet of cartoons by my friend Petition. He's a cartoon illustrator, okay? And he's giving it out free, okay? So you're welcome to take it. I think it's in the back of the front here. Okay, thank you.
Hello, my name is Steve Bischoff. I'm a East Oahu resident. I've lived in East Oahu for 47 years. And I'm old enough to remember the history on the rail. And when it's all on the ride. I'd like to thank Ron Tam, who called me last night, so I'm not all that well organized, but it's nice to be able to have a forum where we can sit and talk and discuss this problem that we have with the rail. This handout that we got basically tells it all. $3.72 billion. How many of you know what $1 billion looks like? That's what it started out at, $3.72 billion. I wouldn't, in my foggiest memory, I would never ever be able to imagine what $1 billion is, less $3.72 billion. And now we're talking about $10 billion. It's gone up from 2008 until 2017. It's 9 years, it's increased $6 billion. It's just crazy. I don't see so well. There's a little older. Sadly, politicians lack vision. Now I'm going to talk a little different perspective. The gentleman that spoke before me told you what all the pitfalls are on the we should have people in jail. There's been just corruption on this rail project. And I'm going to talk on a little different perspective. The rail in 8 to 10 years, it tells on here in 8 years, it's going up to $11 billion. In 8 to 10 years, we're going to have cars that drive by themselves. The rail, the fixed rail, you have to think of it in terms of a fixed rail. Once it's in, and once we paid our 10, 11, 12, $14 billion, we're going to be stuck with a fixed rail that can't be changed. And by 8 to 10 years from now, we're going to have vehicles that can drive themselves from Hawaii Kai to Waianae, from Waianae to Hawaii Kai. And they're going to be vehicles that are small, easy to transport, like the handy vans that will pick up people in Hawaii Kai and Kuliho'o and Ainahaina and Kahala and take them to downtown and to wherever they want to go. And it's going to be cheaper and it's going to be much easier to get around than the rail is going to be. So our rail system, as new as it's going to be, is going to be antiquated in 8 years. Guaranteed. The problem is that politicians can't see beyond the next election. So they're talking 2 and 4 years down the road. But when you start talking 8 to 10 years, they have no imagination as far as what's going to happen. Computers changed our lives. Cell phones changed our lives. Self-operating cars vehicles are going to change our lives. It's difficult for us to imagine right now, but think back as to what computers did to us and what cell phones do to us. Nearly everyone has a cell phone now. So these self-operating cars are going to take over the job of the rail system. It's going to make driving easier, driving safer, and it's just going to be something that is going to make the rail antiquated. What we should do, rather than spend another $6 billion or $7 billion on the rail, is we should salvage what we can. Sell the rail cars, sell the steel, sell the concrete if we can. If we can't sell the concrete, we should haul it out the ocean and use it for, allow for our fish to swim in. Last but not least is a pet peeve of mine: bike. Rail is a nice thing to have. Self-driving cars are even better. But it'd be better if we could get a decent bike path. We have one running out here. I wouldn't ride on it. 6 feet wide, 8 feet wide, however it is. We need a 40-foot wide bike walk path from Waianae to Hawaii Kai. And we need to promote riding bicycles for health, for better transportation, for ecological reasons, to make sure our environment is clean. Anyway, I appreciate you listening to me, and thank you very much.
The next person to testify is Marijane Carlos. Oh, Mary Jane, sorry.
We can make the mic up to you. We can keep it.
As a member of this board, number 8, when the rail first started discussions, I tried to get the board to pass resolutions to stop it. I fought through 3 administrations to stop rail because I came from Philadelphia. I know that everything that Rufy told us about the rail was a lie, and I told him that to his face. Wherever the rail is, you've got dirt. You've got dirty. He says they're gonna build up a lot of nice places along the rail. No, you get slums. Okay, you get slums, and the cost when he said it was going to be $5 billion, I told him right to his face, I used to go to all the community meetings. I said, no way. No way it's going to stop at $5 billion. I predicted 8 and beyond that. Hawaii can't afford it and doesn't need it. That's the whole problem. I have always proposed increasing the bus system, getting more small buses to go up into the areas that this rail is never going to service. You see by the crowd here, apathy. Apathy reigns in Hawaii. Everybody says, oh, somebody else will take care of it. No, we all have to take care of it. We all have to complain, and I don't know, nobody who would vote for steel on steel has ever lived in a city. They're loud, they're noisy, they're dirty. Wheels would have been better, rubber wheels. But even that, I mean, that would have been a lot better. Plus, the emergency vehicles could have used those guideways if they had had rubber wheels. And the disappointing thing to me was, Ann Kobayashi is our city council person. And she always agreed with that thinking too. And she fought the financial situation. So she lost her position as budget chair. That's why you don't see too much of her anymore. I mean, it's just a matter of time until they kick her off the board altogether. You can't back them. You can't buck them and not feel the bite. But we have to. We have to buck them. And, you know, the people that voted for steel and all this other stuff, now they're saying, gee, I wish we hadn't done that. Well, too late, buddy. Too late. Except that we could stop it at Bill Street. And we could take the steel off, just like this gentleman said, and sell it. And the cars. And then increase the bus system into all the outer areas. That would be far better than trying to get that rail to go any further than Middle Street. The bus system's right there. I mean, it's perfect. Do it while you can, before it's too late. Because not only are our grandchildren going to be paying for it, our great-grands are going to go on and on through generations. And it's never going to pay for itself, not ever. Most of the cities that have fixed rail are doing away with it because there are better systems, especially steel on steel. I sometimes wonder what our legislators and Congress people are thinking about. They built a steel stadium where it rains every day, and now they're talking about taking the train off the high guideway where there was nothing there and putting it down on street level where you've got all of Honolulu. Duh. Should have been done just the opposite. Out in the country where there's nothing there, they should have put it on the ground and then thought about elevating it when they got to the city. Because obviously you can't go underground like they do in major cities. That would be totally prohibited and we'd be probably swimming our way. Anyway, obviously I'm opposed to it. I've been opposed to it through 3 administrations, and I have fought it all the way. And it was Luffy's lying to everybody. He even lied to the city council and convinced them, and they believed him. Too late now. Now, some of them are thinking alike, but nothing can be done. Thank you for listening. Thank you for being here. Thank you for continuing the fight. And hopefully, I'm disappointed in the crowd, I gotta tell you. Because I know our board was all invited, and I'm the only one here from our board. But like I said, apathy reigns. It's not coming here, so they don't care. They can't see past the nose on their face. Anyway, Aloha.
Thank you very much. And, once again, I'm going to emphasize that all is not sad today. We are the ones who got to go out into the community and speak up, to get others involved, and to understand the concern of what's happening with the city rail, the lack of financial accountability. And what we can do in terms of transportation needs, okay? The days of yesterday when the legislators used to be out in the community, unfortunately they don't do that now. They get lazy, they stay in the office and so forth. They depend too much on technology, the cellular, and whatever, the TV, right? And we need to go out there in the community. If they will not come to us, we need to go out there and echo our concerns. Make it known. Okay? The next person is Marijane Morgan. Thank you for being here.
My name is Majorie Morgan, and I'm a concerned citizen watching the cost of rail project consume our tax dollars and ruin the beauty of our island. I was born and raised in Hulihe'e, graduated from Farrington High School, and currently live in Kailua. I am here today to plead to the people of this beautiful island to demand an audit of HART. HART has been spending our money without any limits or oversight, and the watchdogs for our tax dollars are our city council members and our legislators, who we the people elected. HART isn't willing to audit themselves. The city and state isn't willing to audit them. Therefore, the people need to demand an audit. The Grassroots Institute has a petition at audittherail.com. That's audittherail.com. Log on and sign the petition with great pride. Don't be afraid, people, and don't allow special interest groups to bully you or shame you for this. We are a part of the United States of America, and it's our God-given right to stand up to government and say, we've trusted you with our money, and now we've lost our trust in you. Therefore, we demand an audit. No more spending, signing contracts, raising taxes, and making promises with our tax dollars until there is an audit. Do you know each station will have 4 to 12 embossed columns to integrate Hawaiian culture into the rail project? And HART has granted 11 contracts for art pieces ranging from $109,000 to $256,000 per contract to meet the Art in Transit program, which is mandated by the federal government for all transit projects. What HART doesn't tell you is that escalators, bathrooms, elevators, lighting, staircases, landscaping, painting of stations, and trains can come under the category of art in transit. It's basically to enhance stations without it looking sterile. And it's supposed to represent the community. It's to add color and to detract from the steel, cement, and the noise. HART could have spent the $5 million and still counting on beautiful Hawaiian plants, sculptured bamboo trees, and or wall gardens. More on the outdoor type open garden space. HART could have requested or required the architects to design bathrooms with artful doors and escalators with walls displaying Hawaiian art, versus pieces of art and sculptures that no one can use and will probably and most likely be vandalized. Art could have been incorporated into the things that are really needed at the train stations, rather just on pieces of art and statues. HART is not and has not spent our money wisely. People have brought up the fact that there haven't been many discussions with the airport authority about the rail going through their area. And according to the HART recovery plan dated April 30th, 2017, HECO isn't willing nor able to do the work at the airport. Has anyone seen rail pillars at the airport? I haven't. When will the work start at the airport, and what other problems is HART facing at the airport that they don't want the people to know about? According to a report on KHON Channel 2, dated July 16th, 2014, imagine, 3 years ago. Headline, HART unveils plans for rail station at Honolulu International Airport. What a lovely, lovely headline. And I quote a section of the report. I get here to the airport, and guess what? The parking is full because everyone else is going to the neighbor islands too, said Honolulu Mayor Kurt Caldwell. What a relief it's going to be when in 2019, 5 years from today, instead local folks who live on this island, can instead take the train to the airport. End of quote. Right, people. It's the end of 2017, and no pillars are inside of the airport. Only nice shiny signs posted by Lagoon Drive and rusting metal in the park. The airport is one of many, many unknowns, and according to the HART recovery plan, dated April 30th, 2017, I quote, the project is currently monitoring 215 active risks and 15 pending change orders, and has closed 90 risks since June 2016, unquote. It's been years, 8+, and only 90 risks, that's 90, have closed. Approximately 1/4 of the known risks have been settled in 5 years. 5 years. What they don't tell you is how many unknown risks are still out there. If there are still 230 left on the known risks to figure out, then only God knows how many unknown risks are still out there. We are in trouble, people. And again, I reach out to the people because that's the one that we need. Imagine continuing a project with approximately 3/4 of your project being open-ended, not to mention the unknowns, which can go into infinity and equates into billions and billions of your tax dollars. Spending and waiting, don't hold your breath. Is this why HART, the politicians, and the special interest groups don't want an audit? The audit will prove how this whole project has been shoved down the throats of the people, primarily for special interest groups who are making a killing on the backs of the people of Hawaii. Most of the money being made on this project either goes back to the mainland or overseas. They parade our hard-working construction people like sheep to all of these meetings and give them t-shirts, shiny badges, and signs, and demand they give a 1-minute testimony and say, this is a good project for the people of Hawaii and will bring affordable housing to Oahu. Thank you. Really? How is it good for the people, and what is affordable housing? Live and work close to the rail. Are you kidding me? One of the developers wants a special permit to build higher, and in return is willing to have approximately 44 units, affordable units for the people. Has anyone asked, what will the price be? Maybe they can afford the unit, but can they afford the high maintenance costs of these mega buildings? More than likely not. I feel for these young construction workers who are paraded out each and every time because their union makes them do it. They have to because the union unions demanded of them, especially since most of them are on apprenticeships with the unions. I don't blame them. They need their jobs and they don't dare speak out because they will be hushed very quickly. There are many people in the construction industry, I mean many, who under their breath say, we're not making money for this project, but if we like jobs, we gotta go with the flow. They know the money isn't staying in Hawaii, and they know it's all about the special interest groups who are making loads of money, but they have to zip it or else. When will the people of Hawaii finally stand up and say, enough, we are done, we want an audit? Haven't we learned from the ferry fiasco when all of the special interest groups shut it down? And now the people of Hawaii are strapped with a $37 million debt. The special interest machine has permeated into our society so badly and have been leading the people of Hawaii like sheep straight to the slaughterhouse. The people of Hawaii are working so hard, they don't have time to stop and smell the roses, let alone realize they're headed for the slaughterhouse. I say to the people of Hawaii, stand up for your island. Stand up for our island. Demand an audit at audittherail.com and come out to the legislature's special session starting September 28th. Bring your own signs, bring your voices, bring your family and friends. Make your voices be heard. And if you can't find parking, at least circle the Capitol and let the legislatures know you are done with this excessive spending and the people of Hawaii demand an audit. Again, go to audittherail.com for forensic audit. You want a forensic audit because this will give us every detail and let us know where everything is gone. See you all at the Capitol on September 28th. And bring your friends, bring your family, and most of all, your signs and voices demanding a forensic audit. Thank you, and people of Hawaii, stand up and protest this uneven, unopen-ended spending. You need to rise or you will fall. Thank you.
I'd like to thank you for very encouraging words. Appreciate it. But giving people a fight. You gotta fight, okay? You have that spirit of fight. Remember, if you don't try, you're not gonna know whether you succeed or not, okay? I want to bring up one thing in terms of the timetable. And the timetable is good for us, okay? The legislature goes into special session August 28th for 5 days. Okay. Now, I know, basically from experience, yes, the legislature does meet behind those closed doors. Okay. But we gotta let them know that we know that, basically, and they should not make any decisions before August 28th. Okay. If we do not let them know to them, then they will think they fooled us. Okay. And don't forget now, that the old saying goes something like this: government of the people, for the people, and by the people. We are the government, not those bureaucrats at state capitol, or city hall, or the elected officials, or the mayor, or the governor. We are the leaders of Hawaii, and we have to speak up. With that, I'm going to ask in terms of the next person, Joe Kent, to come forward. Thank you very much.
Okay, aloha everyone. Let's see if I can on. Okay, there we go. Aloha everyone, can you hear me? Okay, great. Thanks. My name is Joe Kent, and I work at the Grassroot Institute of Hawaii. It's a nonpartisan public policy think tank. And I'm here today because we're trying to promote this website. You may have heard of it, audittherail.com. It's been said a few times today, so thank you to those who have plugged it. Although we have small numbers here, I really do believe in this quote that keeps falling down. Never doubt that a small group of thoughtful, committed citizens can change the world. Indeed, it is the only thing that ever has. And indeed, that's what we're trying to do. Thank you. And with the Audit the Rail petition, it's not just your signature that counts, it's your ability to promote the audittherail.com website. And we found that through viral, everything's viral these days. Through viral marketing, if you email your friends or put it on Facebook, so far just by sending out little chain emails and things, we've generated 3,500 signatures on this in just 1 month. And because of that, there's some movement in the push for an audit. At the Honolulu County Council last week, they introduced a resolution 17-199, and that is to audit the rail. At the Heart Board, they have also introduced I guess it's a motion to audit the rail as well. And at the state legislature, there may be talk to audit the rail. So politicians do understand that this website is out there. We hear them talking about it. So it's important to generate more numbers. If you're going to talk about this audit, there's a few arguments that people will throw at you. And I'm here to talk about the arguments. First, the Heart Board says, we already do audits. And it's true, yes, they already do financial annual audits. These audits cost maybe $50,000, $60,000 to do. It's more of a bookkeeping type of thing. It does not look into the historic what went wrong questions. It does not constitute a forensic audit to look for fraud, waste, and abuse. These are cursory kind of audits. So when the Heart Board or other people say, yes, we already do audits, keep in mind that these are all small, cursory kind of audits. They're not a forensic audit, which is what we want. Second, the Heart Board at the last meeting said, well, what if we just make a list of all the of all the financial audits that we do every year? If we make a list, will that satisfy you? And but a list is not an audit, actually, and they actually needed to be told that at the last board meeting. Heart Board member John Henry Felix said, I'm sorry, a list is not an audit. And finally, at the Heart Board meeting, they said, the public doesn't want it. They said, we think the public doesn't want this. Well, that's what our petition is trying to show, is that the public does want this, and we think many more than 3,500 people who have signed it so far want this. We are a small group of people, but again, we don't just want your signature, we want your friend's signature, and we want people you know. So it's as easy as saying, please sign the petition at audittherail.com. And we don't share your information with anyone. Again, my name is Joe Kent, and I work at the Grassroot Institute of Hawaii. Thank you.
Thank you, Joe. Sure. Joe, here's a question.
I was just wondering who in the legislature had sponsored the bill?
So currently there is no talk at the Hawaii State Legislature to audit the rail. Maybe you might have been thinking of the council.
Oh, I thought you mentioned
The council, Councilman Trevor Ozawa sponsored it, and there's talk that at least 3 or 4 other people on the council support it. So, and actually, everyone, whether you're pro-rail or anti-rail, should support looking at a forensic audit to see what went wrong in the past and to clear up things for the public. Thank you.
As we discussed today, ideas are from importance. And here's an idea, and I'm glad you asked the question. If the legislature is doing an audit, we we can force them to do an audit. They go into session on August 28th. We'll have a resolution prepared for them through this association with your support that the legislature must adopt for audit. Okay? But we need your support in terms of doing that. So once we have your names here, those who attended, testifiers. Once we have the wording for the audit, we're going to send it to you. And we want you to spread the word out that the legislature should adopt our financial audit. Okay? When they get to session on the 28th of August. Now, that will be a roadblock for them to do anything behind doors, because you're making it known that we the people are aware of what's going on. And this is how we want you to proceed. You can't proceed on your own. Okay? So we bring everybody together and to focus in terms, we want financial accountability. Remember now, the magic word is we want financial accountability. Okay, with that, I'm going to ask the next person, Zach, before.
Only for you, Jack.
Aloha, everyone. My name is Jack, and I'm a proud resident of Napihaa. Just to give you a little bit of background, from the very beginning of this rail, boondoggle, and that is the word that describes what this rail is. It's a boondoggle. It is the most expensive public works project in the history of the United States. Not just Hawaii, but in the history of the United States. And let me bring you to the one specific point that we should all be aware of. And that is our city council and those at the state capitol, the legislature, they're not incompetent. They know exactly what they're doing. And what they're doing is knowingly turning the citizens of the state of Hawaii into perpetual debt slaves to enrich their pockets. They know this rail is unattainable. Even if it gets completed, they will be making money on making sure that the maintenance part of the rail continues to tax the hard-pressed workers and the middle class in the state of Hawaii. I implore you to get the will to look at these individuals for what they are. They are corrupt and they know what they're doing. And what they fear the most is for you to wake up and take control of your destiny. There are more of us than there are of them. And that's why it's important for us to get on the bandwagon of speaking truth to power. They don't want to hear it. They're against it. Truth for them is a spear right in their wallet. What they're after is a perpetual supply of tax dollars to enrich them while they run away and laugh all the way to the bank. All of us know that they've lied to us from day one. They never allowed the alternative rail projects to even be heard by the public. They railroaded it down our throats, and they cheated us out of a viable future where transportation would enhance the quality of life. Steel rail has a history from the very beginning, 10, 20, 40, 50, 100 years ago. Whenever rail goes down, what happens on either side of rail? Development. That's what this scam is all about. To continue the runaway development that has run amok, especially
a while.
They just want to keep it going and they want to bleed us dry all the way to the bank while we foot the bill. They're brilliant. They're extremely well adept at being deceivious. These are criminals in three-piece suits. And that's how they should be responded to. We, as the citizens of this state of Hawaii, they serve us. But they want us to believe that we serve them. And it's time for us to stand up and be the Americans we were taught to be as youngsters in school. Be proud of who you are as Americans. And I'm not talking about Hawaiian sovereignty and all of that, okay? I'm talking about taking control of your destiny as a human being and not standing to be treated as sheep, as this fine woman here reminded us of all. The reason why they continue to do this is because they think we're too stupid to make the right decisions. That's why they keep lying to us, because we're not doing it. We're not motivated enough to tell them enough is enough. And if we don't do something about this rail now, it'll be too late. The window of opportunity to change rail and to save rail is getting smaller and smaller and smaller. The time to save rail is now. Let's hold these politicians fiscally accountable for our money. And that's what they're addicted to. They are addicted to spending our money and they can never get enough. Let's stop them dead in their tracks and ask for a forensic audit. Thank you.
You know, he's very right. Let me give you an example of just what occurred. You know, I retired back in 2010 to focus on my family more. Okay? My mother was sick, so we took care of her at home, and she passed away. So now I spend a lot of time with my father, well, 6 days a week, basically, in the mornings or evenings or whatever time. And he's an able body, by the way, but I'm lucky because my father's still working. At 88 years old, he's going to be 89, he's still working. But anyway, that speaker was exactly correct. You know, if we don't take action, we'll receive in terms of a bad economy, negativism, our social life will be ruined. And like I said, when I retired in 2010, what happened, all of a sudden all this development spurred up in Kakahu. That was my area. Okay? And I was told by some people, you know, Rod, they waited until you left office because my term had ended for the 2 terms and 8 years in total as a city councilman by a city county charter. So they waited until I was gone. And the people say, what do you think, Rod, about that development? I said, you know, quite frankly, I wouldn't buy it because the infrastructure is very poor. There's no sewage, not enough sewage, not enough water, all that condominiums. They're going to have problems there. When they flush the toilets, they're going to be back up. When they run their disposals, it's going to be back up. Okay, if you go to Kalama, you notice there's hardly any storm drainage over there. When it rains heavy, it's going to get flooded. Okay? And it's for money-making project, basically. Okay? And then when you think about it, one bedroom, who can afford about $600,000 for a unit? And that's crazy, basically. That's not really affordable. Okay? But well, by the way, as we speak with speakers, he reminded me to tell you that the state of Hawaii and the city is already in debt. You know, this rail is going to put us more in debt. We're actually bankrupt right now, to be honest with you. Technically in the books, we're bankrupt. You know, we live in a borrowed money. You know, it was said earlier by a testifier that the city council approved by the mayor's request per Carlos request $350 million in bonds. That's borrowed money. Okay, using bonds to borrow the money, like you go to the bank, basically borrowing money, and you're adding to your debt. who's gonna have to pay it for it? The taxpayers of the city, county, of Honolulu, okay? Not the state of Hawaii, but the state is all the counties, right? But the city, we here in city, county, of Honolulu have to pay for it. And we're gonna be more bankrupt, basically. Okay, and I don't think you wanna do that. But anyway, the next speaker. I'm sorry, as I get older, I get worse here. Is Larry Iwasa. Please, thank you.
Good morning and aloha. I'm Larry Veray. I'm the chair for the Pearl City Neighborhood Board, and I'm standing here today representing myself, not the board as a whole, but I also just been re-elected as the chair and represent all the people of Pearl City. I've lived in Hawaii the last 33 years, plus I've got another 5 years earlier than that, being formally in the Navy and retired. Working as a government contractor right now. And I go back over the years, you know, you can't change what's been done, but I go back and I can still remember when I talked to the Mayor Hanneman and I talked to our representatives we had with our board, and I told them, as you go on this adventure and you're spending our money and you're going around the world looking at other transit systems, make sure you look at Singapore. Singapore is the size of Oahu, 10 million people. Compared to our million people, and they have a fully integrated transportation system. I told Mayor Hanneman that is the place that we should model. Over these course of the years, as I saw as the rail was being planned, I never really thought what it looked like in Pearl City, but today as I leave, as I work for the Navy, I drive home every day, I drive past every one of those columns down Kalama. And I never thought the face of Pearl City, Waipahu, would be changed forever. That was the look. As you look in old magazines and things, you see what our cities, as they develop, what they look like. It's changed forever. And then I look at it and says, we did this over again. Could we have minimized the appearance of it? You know, I fully believe it should be elevated because you see what happens in Mainland. They always have train wrecks and people wanting to commit suicide on rails. But if they would have built that along the bike path of Pearl Harbor, instead of putting it down the main infrastructure of Kalama, we'd have saved a lot of money. I'm here to tell you, we need this audit. It's smart because we're at this point now, after $8 billion, and the hardest part is ready to go. I just can't believe how we can build all the way to Waikiki for $3 billion. It is impossible. So these lessons learned need to be captured right now. We had to do it over again. Of course, I still got this gut feeling something is wrong. When I was born and raised in construction, my first job back in Indiana, and I look at how this was built. Same column, same design, same mold, all the way from Kapolei, all the way across the fields. Not a lot of expense on that. When you've got the Waipahu, now you got all the sewers, you have infrastructure, you got to change. Sidewalks, I'm still waiting for our roads to get paved. So I'm thinking this next stretch, going through Kalihi, and probably the most important part, Chinatown. We take a lot of pride in Hawaii, Chinatown. It is going to change. Imagine those columns going through there. Going through Kakak all the way to Waikiki. Then you think, is there an opportunity to change this and think about it, and let's take those lessons learned from other cities. What did they do to save their cost? Well, I can tell you right now, Manhattan, New York, New Jersey, Boston, the Chesapeake, let's learn from the Japanese, our friends. The Japanese have built tunnels for years. If you ever drove the Aqua Line underneath Tokyo Bay, it's a $35 toll, $70 both way, but it's worth it. It saves you so much money to get to the airport. It's built under Tokyo Bay. So, what I'm telling you right now, we got to take a look at alternatives, get the audit in, let's get the lessons learned, and let's rethink. I do think you look at technology today, Frank Genadio, he's going to get to tell you about his maglev, I think it should still be considered. Yes, decisions have been made, you got steel on steel, but guess what? People make the wrong decisions, and you gotta look at the long-term cost. We need to reevaluate that. And I am a firm believer we could save a lot of money if we tunnel from Middle Street all the way to Waikiki, and you wouldn't even know there's a transfer system. You walk in downtown, you walk down the escalator, and you get on your train and you head to Waikiki. And people say, you can't do that because the groundwater up. That's a misnomer. This is the United States of America. We got the Japanese, we got Singapore. They built all these tunnels. There's water all around, and it can be done. It's not like we got earthquakes every day. So I just want to say that I'm support this audit that's coming up, and I'm real concerned that these costs. I just can't see that this next phase is going to run $3 billion. I would expect it. This cost is going to go to $13 billion. And as you heard the other previous speakers, the most expensive project is Jackson in the world. We've got to figure a way to affect these costs. As far as slums around train stations, ma'am, I got to disagree with you because it ain't going to happen on my watch in Pearl City. As long as I've got influence in Pearl City, we're moving forward transit-oriented development. And I have a vision for our young people because our entire report, number one is traffic. I am put both feet in to work this traffic issue, and the neighborhood boards of this island have to get involved with all of this. We've sat there, we've watched, we trusted our representatives, our city council, our legislature, to help make the right decisions. They're getting paid big bucks for this. We're volunteers. We can't sit around no longer. We've got to get it. It's got to get grassroots movement. We got to figure out number one, traffic. Number two, homelessness. Number three, we've got to come up with affordable housing. And I hope to see someday around those train stations, those high rises in Pearl City multiply, and those high rises will cost our young people $99,000 to buy into a condo, and it stays that way forever to help them get started. Then they save their money and they walk by a bigger one later on. That's my vision. And of course, the fourth one is sustainability for agriculture. All this development, you heard about it. That's a big thing, especially with the Democracy board that we talk about. I'm real concerned. I'm glad this last decision, City Council not to approve the development up on North Shore. That was very smart. But we've got to take this, and it's got to be from a grassroots movement to hold our leadership accountable to make the right decisions. And this is the United States of America. We're not winners. We got to finish this rail. Decisions were made. We got to do it. Is it going to make a difference in our traffic? No way whatsoever. Okay, but the thing is, it's going to affect the new people, and we could put some creativity in there to figure out how we get that ridership up. So other than that, that's all I have for you, and all the other speakers, I think, have made some really good comments there, and it's got to be grassroots movements. But thank you very much.
Before I point out the next slide, I want to bring up about that we have water donated by a company. His name is McCottern. Okay, he's back there. He donated the water, so help yourself. Sorry you don't have no air conditioning in cafeterias. No public school cafeteria has air conditioning. The only thing they have is fans. They put in air conditioning in the classroom, but they won't put it in the cafeteria. Okay, because basically the students only eat lunch for about half an hour in the outbreak. But anyway, it's not part of the standards of the diploma education. Also, I want to tell you in terms of, I want to give you some comfort. Okay, the timetable of what we can do. You may think that everything is doing it now fast. Okay, it's against us. It's not against us. As a former legislator, state, from the House of Representatives, state, Senate, and then from the City Council, let me tell you the timetable. Okay, we can still make the audit happen. Okay, like I said, this is a special legislative session. It's going to be on August the 28th for 5 days. We come up with a resolution asking for an audit. Okay, we take example of what was the audit did, sign up over there in the back, from the Grassroot Institute. and we use that. We don't want to change it basically because then it gets very confusing, okay? So we use that, the model of that audit. And we send it to the legislature. We have representatives or senators to introduce it for us. When you go into session on the 28th of August, they can adopt it within 3 days. Okay? That will stop in terms of any type of funding for the rail until next year in January, when the legislative session goes into full session, and they have within their hands a full-scale audit. They can make wise decisions. Right now, it's a shotgun approach. Now, the city council, they have a resolution too, asking for an audit. We push them to pass that, adopt that audit, the resolution. Okay? And then people say, well, what about the rail that they need to stop? Don't forget now, the city council and the mayor passed a bill for the bonding, $350 million. That bonding will carry the cost of the rail to the end of this year, December. Okay? And then what about the FTA, the federal government? What would they say in terms of not receiving their action plan of accountability for the rest of the money by the federal? Well, if they wait this long, they will wait again. Let me tell you something about the federal government. Their budget year is different from ours. Their budget year starts from October of each year to end of September of the following year. Our budget, in terms of the legislative state and also the city, is from July 1st, say of this year, to end of June of next year. Okay? And also too, there's one thing about government. Once you start spending some of the money from that budget, you open the door already. The money will always be there in reserve. Very frankly, the money won't disappear. Okay? The money will be there. So the audit can hold off from the release of any money, be it federal or the state, until next year. Okay, but we do have enough money to build from the pro city up to the ministry, basically, of this year. Okay, so don't let it be a concern to you. There'll be opponents to us who will say differently, but they're not telling you the whole story. So our next testifier is Moses Napihaa. No, sorry.
I think you dropped your glasses. You dropped your glasses? Close your glasses on?
My name is Moses Napihaa, and I'm with the Financial Accountability Group. Just by listening to every one of you guys, it adds up taxes. And who held responsible? That's what you have to ask. The responsibility goes to the legislature, the other responsibility goes to the council. So it's up to us to say, no more. Because the thing is that board is not going out, helping us. We need the help. That's the thing. We need the help. We need that punch. Every time we ask people to come out, did they ever come out? No. I know you folks experience a lot of that. We tried our best. Guess what? Signature is not enough. We need patience. That's the thing. We have to have patience in front of state capitol or whenever they have a lot of meeting coming up with the council. Very Caldwell itself is really the council with his fish. They are afraid of him. The question is this, which council is going to stand up against it? There's something they are afraid of him. For some reason, I got no idea. But the most important thing, I guess, you have to talk to the people. The voters is the most important thing. We can say everything what we want, but how can we get the voters up to say something? It's not easy. Like I said, it's not easy. Back in the 50s, how I got the voters to vote for something like that, they should get the box, get them up to the state capitol or wherever they have to go. But all I say is this, and everybody's fighting for the tax. We don't want no more tax on this. So we have to stop the council. We have to stop the legislature saying no. We got it. But the most important thing, I put a lot of emphasis, get the voters out. Show face. Because actually the voters are paying for us because the council passed whatever necessary taxes that I need. So this is what I gotta say. Like it's of course gotta go out. How many of you guys can get even 10 votes behind you guys? I'm not too sure you could do that. Even 20. You can say a lot, but they ain't gonna come up. But anyway, thank you, and this is what I got to say.
I'm glad that everybody be fired up. We need to build that fire within ourselves. Okay, once you have that fire in yourself, then we proceed. Okay, and I'm going to mention this opportunity right now, and I'll say it later again, that we need to speak in unity. One way to speak in unity is to be part of this association, Financial Accountability for Rail Mass Transit Association. It's a non-profit organization. It's registered in the state of Hawaii to the Department of Common Consumer Affairs. It costs you nothing. Okay? We want to be a mouthpiece out there, and especially to our legislators. Okay? What to do with our government is our government. Okay? So, next speaker.
Aloha. My name is Hulihe'e. I see a lot of aloha people over here. In Kuleana and Malama and Kona. We wish had more in our aloha state. I'd like to talk to you about being honest or this kind, being citizen, public servant of people, doing the right things. And I believe our government, our city council are not doing the right thing. And maybe something else that's leading them not doing the right thing. Say like our shipping. You get China, you get Japan, you go to California. Stop off, drop off stuff, or a product, or a produce, whatever. And then the American ship comes over here, drop them off. So we have to pay more money for all the products and all the export, import. Anyway, I want to just say about me growing up. I'm the 60, 70, 80, 90, 2000. I wasn't a good guy. I wasn't a man, no law. Manikaloe and Kukai. But now, I get along a little bit some Kaloe. But anyway, I want to talk to you about mind change of aloha. What is aloha? Where did it come from? It came from our queen.
How did she get that bird along? By her culture, her heritage, her ancestors that made her find that bird aloha. Aloha means, what aloha means? There's a lot of meanings of aloha. I'm going to tell you about aloha, the main thing, our survival. It's a Hawaiian word, aloha, that if you really look at the history, and what the queen wanted like that, and the Hulihe'e, what it showed us. Sustainability, being sustainable. So, as a Hawaiian, a little bit, I have Hawaiian, Japanese, Chinese, Portuguese, but I live in Hawaii, so I'm going to respect the Hawaiians and the people that here, that was here first, and I look back at their history, and they were very sustainable. I don't think we need training and all these kind of calculators or whatever. We have nature. We believe in nature, respected nature, and it survived us. And we were surviving. So I just want to say that we should look at that and think about farming, fishing, aquaculture, or whatever you know, that for food, for sustainability. That's the main purpose. We're growing our own food, and maybe we can change some rules or whatever. So we have the opportunity to have our ships delivering our load or opihi to Japan or China or the United States or wherever around the world. People gotta wake up and respect our Hawaiian culture, our ancestors, our heritage. It was all born. We sustain ourselves. We didn't need any other entity to survive. Now we have struggling to survive. Why? Where's our agriculture? Where's our fishing? What's happening to that? What's happening to our culture? So, just want to thank you. I'm living my culture with the aloha spirit, and I thank you, all you guys, that you guys, I know, have aloha spirit. I heard every one of you guys. Mahalo and thank you. Aloha. Excuse me, I just want to bring these up. Put a little light on your folks' education. To respect the people, the whole Hulihe'e that are right here first. Their justice, their rights, their happiness, survival. Thank you.
Thank you, Alvin. You see what he's all fired up, basically. He really has his heart for Hawaii. He loves Hawaii very much, and I think we all do. We all need to express that in terms of this issue, in terms of what it means to us. But the next testifier is McCottern.
Hi, aloha. Yeah, this is one of the first sessions that I've actually gone to. I want to thank Rod Tam and also City Council member. I think might have just actually stepped out. You know, this is a fairly small group, so I don't know if any of you folks are taking notes here. Looks like some are. So there's about 23 in the crowd right here this morning. And I've started and sold more than 15 companies in the last decade in the state of Hawaii, Colorado, Florida, Tennessee, and Maryland. And there's a lot of startup groups, there's a lot of small groups, but you know, I really follow Malcolm Gladwell's form of thinking. Some of you folks might know him. He's the author of the book Blink, and he also came out with the book Tipping Point. And how were these groups started? How were these groups formed? Okay, they started with maybe a dozen folks, okay? Legislature, and I don't want to get too off politically, but legislative enactments that passed laws, actually, that finally legalized same-sex marriage across the entire United States of America. Does anybody know what year that organization was initiated? Do we have a raise a hand? We'll give you a free alkaline water if you can guess. Does anyone know? There was a singular group, okay? And they would have fit in this room right here that enacted the initial legislature and started that group as a think tank before it ever even became political. And we don't have any guesses. Okay, that's all right. It was, believe it or not, it was 1987. 1987, okay? So we're talking 30-some years it took them to finally enact and pass laws with the Supreme Court that changed American history forever and ever. But that group was formed in 1987, less than 150 folks, okay, on the mainland. I wish I could say it was out here in Hawaii, but it's on the mainland. Anyhow, so what I want to do here this morning, just for a moment, and if you can, please raise your hand, because I think this is very critical. You know, this crowd has dwindled. I was here in 2012. There was much bigger groups. You know, so it's been a 5 to 7 year shrinking of the crowd, because you lose momentum when you look up in the sky and you got rail being built all over the island already. So I think what's critical with what's happening right now is what can a group so small as this actually accomplish, okay? We're not going to probably go down, we're not going to climb, well, be against the law, you go to jail. We're not going to climb the concrete post and stand on the concrete rail right now and hold up signs and wave signs. We're not going to do those forms of demonstration. We're certainly not going to, you know, knock the rail down that's already been built. So, again, to compartmentalize this, what can tangibly be done over the course of the next, let's say, 90 days, okay? To start to make inroads, and I know a lot of you folks have already touched on a lot of these things, but I'm just wanting to know if anybody can just throw out here, because it's such a small group, I don't even think we need microphones. What letters can be written? You know what I'm saying? I know the empowering theme is to stop the rail and shut it all down and change legislature and no more taxes and all of that. And hopefully some of those things take place. But I guess the question is, what are tangible, small inroads that actually can take place to make significant changes? Does anybody have any thoughts on that? Yes?
Well, if everybody pays attention, yesterday I met a man, he just believed that everything has to go through, and he was brainwashed by our legislation. He says, it's no use fighting it. They are going to come to, we all have to pay up, and then the rail will be constructed. I said, what about maintenance? We don't have enough money for maintenance. Well, he said, it's too late, we voted for these people, and now we have to pay the consequences. And like you and all of us here, we don't want to be dictated like that. I have a family to support. I'm on a fixed budget. I'm a grandmother. I refuse to be taken advantage of. fit. Thank you.
I agree. Thank you, Elaine. Was there any more folks that wanted to just speak about a specific action that I can dedicate 3 hours of my time this week to tangibly doing? Okay, well, I know that gives you deep thought, and I'll let you spend a few minutes to think about it, because I don't think the session's ending yet, but maybe, Rod, if you can just take a moment between the next speaker and maybe share 2 or 3 bullet points, and I'm going to write them down myself. Thank you for your time. Aloha.
Who are you and what do you represent? I'm confused.
Oh, I'm just an individual. I'm basically disgusted with with the tax-paying money that we've spent already on the rail. So yeah, I'm not with any specific organization.
What's your name?
Oh, my name's Nathan. Sorry, my name's Nathan McCottern. Thank you.
Nathan came along, he's the one that donated the water, basically, and he gives you some valuable information. That's what are we going to be doing. You know, we're not over yet today, basically, so ideas will come along. So don't be discouraged, okay? We mentioned a few, like for example, the resolution that needs to be adopted by the legislature, needs to be adopted by the city council for an audit, okay? An audit is very important. And otherwise, the legislators are just making decisions from thin air. They have no firm information at all. Now, this is what's happening politically, if I may allude to that. Mayor Kirk Caldwell has used a tactic by putting the legislature up against the wall. And he's using his leverage point of saying, if you don't give me money, then I'm going to increase property tax. Okay? And then it's like a bluff, basically. Okay? He got all the legislators all shook up. Right? But you know what? That's typical of an attorney. I have friends who are attorneys. And I was a negotiator before in the legal side. But it's typical of an attorney to use bluffing tactics. Okay? The idea is not to fall for the bluffing tactics. Okay? So he uses that tactic. Now, many of our legislators, due respect to them, no disrespect to them, they're really young. They're not really exposed to out there. You know, they're in the 30s or 40s, basically. You know, and maybe some in the 50s. I think the eldest one is Joe Suki. He came into office when I did in 1982. He's over 70 years old. Okay, but many of them, having gone to life action, they've been given things on the civil platter. The parents took care of them monetarily or more concretely, basically. Okay, so they get scared very easily. Okay, so we have to be the backbone of them, telling them what to do. We have to give them their support, give them the right direction. If you don't give them that, then they go to false grade, listen to the mayor and get scared, and say, well, the only way to not to have increasing property tax is to go along and give the city more money, be it in terms of the GET, the excise tax, and other things, basically other ways of financing the rail. Okay, but they will discuss it a bit more. Okay, we have Natalie Iwasa. She just came in. I know she signed up. Come forward. She's going to give us some financial data, basically. You know, we gave some financial data before, but her background is in terms of an accountant or CPA, right? And we've been talking story, so I think she could give real concrete information. Thank you, Natalie.
Thank you, Natalie Iwasa. I'm a CPA and also a certified fraud examiner. And I actually don't have a whole lot of numbers with me today. If you've seen some of the stuff I've done or watched me testify, you know that I put out a lot of testimony with respect to Hart's numbers. A lot of that I have on my blog what Natalie thinks, and if you go there, you'll see documents that show inconsistencies and incorrect information, and HART and the rail project are just full of incorrect numbers. So I encourage you to go there. But what I wanted to mention today was just a few things that I think are broad issues with respect to the rail. We all know the costs are going up, and then there was just that article the other day about HART using rail money to pave the CCC parking lot. Well, you know, it's not so unusual that HART would also approve other areas that are along the route. They did that with the signal lights at various intersections, but the difference, I think, and the question I have with respect to that is HART being reimbursed for that work? Because on the signal lights, the DOT reimbursed HART for that money. So that's a question I have. There are so many unanswered questions, I think, with respect to rail. What I've noticed over the years is that HART has become less transparent. I went back to their website. You know, one of the things I've tried to do is to have them post our testimony, because I think when we have that type of transparency where people's individual testimonies are provided, then we can all check to see what other people are saying, what their concerns are, the things that they've noticed. Back in 2012, they used to actually post the testimonies along with the minutes. They don't do that anymore, and I've asked many times for them to post our minutes, and they haven't done that. They've taken some information that they used to provide in their monthly progress report, for example, their cash balance at the end of the month. They used to show cash in, cash expenditures, cash received, and ending cash. They don't do that anymore. And I have a feeling it's because I found inconsistencies with what they reported there versus what they gave to the city council versus what they gave to the legislature. And so I don't know how we fix that except to keep saying we need you, HART, to provide this information, and it needs to be good information, and it needs to be consistent. We've also seen that after major decisions are made, then we get more bad news. And that happened with the extension back in 2015. They came out with, I forget how many hundreds of millions of dollars of extra cost. We just had the council approve bonds, and I said to them, before you approve this, make sure you get an updated cash flow state projection. But they didn't do that. But on June 22nd, which was about 2.5 weeks after they met, HART provided an updated cash flow projection, and that included more debt proceeds and less cash at the end of the fiscal year. So again, we have a major decision with changes made afterward. I also wanted to let everybody know that the council meeting is coming up next week, Wednesday. They are going to be looking at Bill 42, which was deferred for a while. Bill 42 would allow HART to use the city funds for rail construction. And the other thing, this kind of goes hand in hand with the special session that's coming up, and also the FTA deadline that has been given of, I think it was September 15th. So I encourage you to submit testimony on that particular bill. A couple other things. We've heard the word audit. We need to have an audit. So there are various types of audits, and I think it's really important to understand. HART has had annual financial audits, and the city has had them prior to that, and the rail fund was audited. The concern I have with respect to a couple of those audits is that, first of all, the second auditor had donated money to Kalama. Now, that's not illegal. It's not against the written ethical principles that CPAs have to follow. But in my mind, it raises questions of independence. So that's a question I have with respect to the auditor in general. But this last audit that came out for June 2016, there were no past adjustments. Now, with respect to an audit, when an auditor goes through there may be something that they find that, oh, they put this in the wrong place, or they didn't account for this properly, or, you know, there might be some missing documentation or something. And so it might lead the auditor then to say, well, really, that should be an adjustment. But, you know, it's not material, so we're not going to go in. It doesn't change the overall financial statements significantly. That's basically what that means. But the auditors had no past adjustments, none. And I find that as I audited for over 10 years, I always found something, always. And with my experience in looking at Hart's numbers, I seriously question, how can it be that they didn't find one single thing that they might have proposed an adjustment on, but didn't because it was so minor? So that's the financial audit. Hart has also had performance audits. They had the audit done by the city that was released in April 2016. They had peer review audits. All those are different from a forensic audit. So I want people to understand a forensic audit can not only, you know, there are questions about still efficiencies and stuff, so a forensic audit can also add to the recommendations for making improvements in efficiencies. But a forensic audit will address concerns that people have with respect to how the money has been spent, whether it's been wasted or possibly been used illegally. And some people have said that, you know, there are questions about fraud out there, and the only way to get to that is through a forensic audit or an investigation. So I wanted to make sure that people understand what that is. There's also a resolution, I don't know if it's on the agenda for next week, Wednesday, that asks for an efficiency and economic audit. That again is something different, and it wouldn't address the concerns about whether there are possibly illegal activities going on. You know, if there were some kind of collusion in the bidding, or some, I don't know, there could be a lot of different things going on, that wouldn't be addressed by that type of audit. So I think, I personally support a forensic audit, and I believe that our Congresswoman, Iwasa also supports that, and I hope that she pushes for that. And I ask you to talk to your representatives about that. I think that is really necessary before any more money is given to HART. You know, the HART board has failed us. The city council, I believe, has failed us. The FTA has failed us. And the only way I think that we will get good information on whether something wrong, illegal has been happening is if we have a forensic audit. I'm sorry, I missed a lot of the comments earlier, but I think the number one thing to do right now is to stop the money. I think the only way that any other alternative is going to be looked at seriously is if the money stops. And I encourage you to submit testimony, to keep participating. I know it gets very frustrating when you go there and you think that people aren't listening. But the more you keep providing that information, your opinions, I think we need to keep that up, because otherwise giving up is just, to me, is not a good solution. And then they just win if we just give up. So I encourage everybody to continue. Yes, Jen.
Natalie, you're familiar with the term boondoggle?
Boondoggle, yes.
Could you inform, you know, the crowd here what boondoggle is? Can you give us your interpretation of what a boondoggle is?
Rail. The question was, what is a boondoggle? Can I define it by saying rail is a boondoggle? Basically, it's something that's just, it's out of control. I mean, you know, at some point, we have to look at we didn't even know what the total costs are.
Would a boondoggle mean there are corruptive influences that are guiding the direction of rail, which makes it a boondoggle for fleecing the taxpayer out of money so that they can efficiently move ahead with the completion of rail and burden the taxpayer for the bill. So boondoggle basically is a very corrupting machination of sorts to rob the taxpayers of their hard-earned money.
Well, that certainly could be a definition. So he stated that basically there could be corruption involved and fleecing the taxpayers to continue the rail project, if I'm paraphrasing.
Pretty much, that we're on the same page.
Okay.
Thank you, Natalie.
Yes.
What would you suggest that we, as ordinary citizens, do to let our legislators and city council reps know how we feel about this forensic audit that you're suggesting?
Well, when they have when there's a public hearing, put that in your testimony. I believe all representatives and senators, council members are available, even before hearings come up, and go ahead and just communicate that thought to them, even though there might not be a hearing scheduled right at the meeting.
May I ask a question? When someone speaks to the audience, we cannot hear them so if you could repeat their question.
Certainly. So she wanted to know what could be done about expressing thoughts about supporting forensic audits. So just communicate with your representatives, senators, even though there might not be a hearing coming up. Gentleman in the, the blue shirt.
Hi, Natalie. Larry Veray, Chair for Pearl City Neighborhood Board.
Hi, Larry.
Thank you for coming in and providing your expertise. But it's so important as audit to go back and identify all those shortfalls, all the things that happen. Lessons learned are so important for management. What do we do right? What do we do wrong? We can't repeat the same thing, and the public needs to see where we failed and get it corrected so that we hold people accountable. We don't waste that money.
Right. So yes, learning what we did wrong, that would also be part of a forensic audit. Where did the money go? That brings up something I found back in the city's statements before HART was formed. There's still $7 million that was netted with expenses. So most people don't quite understand what that means, but basically, rather than showing $7 million of revenue from the FTA and $7 million of expenditures, they put the revenue down with the expenditures and didn't show anything. It's like it was spent, but we don't know what it was spent on. And so that's one of the questions I have is, I add up all of these things that somebody might say, well, that's really not a big deal, $7 million out of $10 billion. But when I put all of that stuff together with all of the other questions and all the other things that I've found and other people have brought up, it adds up. So I hope that addresses your
And one more thing, Natalie, you and I in our leadership roles, what have you done with your board to draft up a resolution? Because usually when neighborhood boards put resolutions in, the city council and our state legislators usually look at those very carefully. That's the people speaking.
Right, that's a big question. So I am also chair of the Hawaii County Neighborhood Board. His question was, what has our board done as far as rail? And so I want to make it clear that I'm here today as myself, but I will explain what we did back in February when the council was looking at using the funding. I think it was Bill 42. We had a discussion about it, and then the majority of the board members decided not to support any additional funding for rail via extension, because that was the issue at the time, and not to fund rail construction with real property taxes. And so we didn't do a resolution, but I did a letter for that. And that letter was sent to the city council, and that letter will also be sent to the legislators when they meet for their special session. The other thing that we did recently was we had HART at our board. There were so many questions, and we had a discussion just to get people in front of HART in front of the people, and have them give them the opportunity to ask their questions and have HART respond. So HART is actually supposed to get back to us on a couple things, and I'm looking forward to that.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Gentleman in the back.
There's a lot of discussion about audits. I'm 20 years in
Can't hear you.
It's, it's hard to hear you, maybe can you?
I'm sorry. I'm not prepared, but I've heard a lot of talks about audits. I have conducted audits in the past. I come from a finance background, and I've worked on infrastructure projects, including rail. The question I have is, what is the focus of this? You know, there's such a huge scope out there, starting from Finley County, who had executives in connection with the victim of the corruption, who was a former parent, all the way down to our local operations. So, even if we push for an audit, we succeed in the local area, how far is that going to go? I mean, the scope is very important to understand. And my other question, I see footprints of the rail going from, Middle Street area, all, sorry, no, I hope everybody can hear me. I don't protect it. Great. The other thing is Middle Street all the way to Alawana has little footprints of public activity along the railway. Who's paying for that? What is it accomplishing? I do not know. But it seems to me like the city is doing work already along the route. So there's, in my opinion, there's already pre-planning done to complete the entire route. And I don't know how realistic it is at this point to even stop it right there because we're already spending money on the entire route.
Do you have an example of what you're talking about as far as?
Oh, sure. Look right next to eggs and things. There's all kind of little activities right there, right where the rail is going. And, the old pool supply place, well, I've been going there for years and they moved because the rail is so, and that's by Chunghwa Cannon. Around there. So I don't know what's going on with that. If you have more information here, I don't know.
Well, I'm not familiar with that, those types of activities, other than I know some businesses have decided to already move out or make changes because they're already in the alignment. And I believe some negotiations may have started, even down to Alamoana. And certainly they're looking at transient-oriented development. That is already in process. So you're right, I believe that there are activities along the proposed rail route. That doesn't mean to me that we can't look at other alternatives and what is best, because we would certainly be doing that if this were our project coming out of our own money. With respect to the scope of the audit, that's a very good question. And I would suggest that we start with questions and concerns that have come up. There have been former employees, former consultants who have made certain allegations in public, and I haven't heard any follow-through on them. So I would start with those concerns that we have already found where questions have come up and they haven't been answered, and then go from there, because you're correct, the scope of the audit would be very important.
Hi, Natalie. I've been asked by Shirley Cypher, and my name is John Kuai. And Shirley and I, we support another agency called CFODR, which is the Citizens for a Fair ADA Ride, quarterly meetings, which they dialogue with the officials from the city and Oahu Transportation Services. And then they invite the leaders of the
Department of Transportation Services to ask and answer questions to them. And anyway, a previous meeting about maybe 2 years ago, an anti-rail activist named Richard DeConti, who unfortunately is in the hospital right now. But at that time, Richard directly asked former director Michael Thornby about the 5307 funds. And he got Director Thornby to clearly say, yes, Mr. DeConti, we did use those 5307 funds that were meant for the handy van and bus. We used it as collateral for the rail. And so is that legal and contractual in terms of doing that as a tool for rail? Do you know about that?
Okay, so this goes back a few years ago. I don't remember exactly the year, but the FTA was asking for additional funds that could potentially be used for rail, and so the bus funds, common call bus funds, were put in the plan. There was a loud outcry from your group as well as others who use the bus and the handy van, and the city council heard, and they said, we're not going to allow PART to use those funds for rail. So as far as I know, they haven't been used, but they were in the plan to show the FTA that should there not be enough money, that would be available.
Shirley has a follow-up thing.
My remark was that if the funds are being held in lieu for whatever action they want to do, you said you think that they have not used them?
I'm pretty sure they have not been used since the date that the council said don't use them. I did have a question on something I found a while ago, but it wasn't anything definitive, so I'd have to look into that a little more.
So our community is wondering, can those funds be released? Because there are many people who are still suffering who need to have those funds with handyman and the bus.
Yeah, I'm sorry, I don't know the answer to that, but I can check into it.
The handyman service is the most terrible service in the island. There's so many handicapped people. Some of them, they miss the appointment. Now, I know Richard DeConti very well. He had fought for the handyman service for many years. They don't know Kalama homes. They were tenants waiting for the handyman, and the handyman never did come. I gone to a meeting at the state legislature, and we testified about the handyman. If you're going to create more handyman, don't have the handyman pick up somebody else. Go directly pick up that handicapped person and bring that person directly to the location he wants to go. So you see, the handyman service needs a lot of correcting. Thank you, Paul.
There's one other person that signed up, and I believe Frank has a presentation of alternative technology. You know, basically the solution, let me call alternative savings, and I was going to say it again, but since everybody's little antsy here, we're looking for solutions, right? What to do. Yeah, I told you about the timetable already, and that is right. The money does not have to be released anymore. So the $350 million in bond money will last to the end of this year. So the federal government doesn't have to get any more money, which is remaining under their budget. to the city because they had the $350 million that's going to be available. Okay? And the legislature, when they have a special session, they can adopt an audit. And the audit can be completed, whatever form of audit it is, okay? As Natalie was explaining, it can be completed by January of next year. And the legislature can be more prudent decisions in terms of what to do for money for the rail if needed. And, now we have three solutions, generally speaking. One is no rail, okay? The other is alternative technologies of rail. Remember, rail is a general term. When you specify in terms of city, you can say that steel on steel. Okay, they're talking about steel and steel. Okay, they're not talking about anything else. Now we bring up alternative technologies, which may be more efficient or less cost, and frankly, go both. And then also too, with an audit, we can have more efficient spending of dollars. Okay. Now, there's a lot of money wasted. Like, for example, recently they hired a new executive. They paid him basically so much money, almost $400,000 a year. It's unheard of, basically, you know. And they pay him lobbyists 6 figures to lobby for the rail that's within the heart itself. Now, this is wasted funds. I never heard of such ridiculous consulting fees. When you think about it, we got to echo it. And then, so you have been involved in neighborhood law. There's 2 chairs here. What you need to do, because I was a neighborhood law years ago, even though you introduce resolution, you send it into the city council and the mayor, you need to follow on it really hard now. You need to be persistent about it. If you just send it in, they just put it on the side, basically. You just call one time, they say, oh, we're working on it. But if you call it continuously, you have to bother them, insist upon them having a hearing on it. Okay? Because it's not enough for neighborhood law just to hand a resolution. The city council has to adopt a resolution, take the material they receive from the neighborhood board and develop a resolution of the city council. Okay? That's what's needed. Okay? The step of implementation. And what I've been doing with the association, I've been showing in terms of how to work things legislatively. You know, the nuts and bolts, basically. The secret behind the doors. Okay? That's why I encourage people to join hands with us. Okay? So, with that, you know, I'm going to mention also too, the other heading before I forget. Bill 42 is coming up next week. A number of us in association testified against Bill 42. You know what that Bill 42 does? We talked about in terms of use of handicap funds for the handicap bus. It enables the mayor to commingle funds. He can take any money from any other budget for services, public services, and commingle it for the rail. That's what it's all about, basically. Now, I call it stupidity of the city council. Remember now, I said I was a budget analyst, okay? And my first job out of college was a staff member of the Ways and Means Budget Committee. Council members do not know how to word the budget to be more specific. They do it too general, so therefore the mayor takes from the money. If they say for transportation needs, and they're not specific in terms of road maintenance or for handicap buses, the mayor can take that money and use it for the rail, as an example. So, because of being called ignorance of the city council members, they don't know how to word the budget. They got to put conditions to the use of the money also too. Okay, I'm giving this knowledge so that we can tell our legislators what to do. Okay, and I want to work with all of you. I'm going to encourage you guys to be all together, be a part of the association. And I'm willing to visit other organizations to give them insight also too. But I think it's easier if we all come together and then we meet every so often when needed. Okay. But that's testified before, Frank, if you don't mind, Frank. And I'm having a difficulty you need his handwriting, I'm sorry. Kalama, is that me?
Oh, that's me.
Oh, I'm sorry. Apologies.
Me, what's that?
Yeah, come here. We've been videotaped by the railway and some other technology so that we will air it. Okay, the more visibility we have, the better off we are. Okay.
My name is April Kalama and I come from Waianae. I talked with Elaine. Is it Elaine? Aloha. So, can you hear me? You can't hear me?
There we go. A little bit
better. Well, I just wanted to thank Jack for telling me about this meeting.
Oh, you're welcome. Glad to see you here.
Thank you. I just came because I believe, I like rail, and so I'm testifying. I'd like to see the project finished. I'm disappointed that in the way that it was started, and being in Waianae personally, I wonder if we shouldn't have started with the first phase out there to connect the community to more opportunities for employment. I am disappointed with how the money's been spent or how the money's not been spent and where the money's gone. But I'm a proponent of rail because I think it's an efficient means of transportation. I've lived in other cities like Austin. I always wanted to see rail there. I don't know, I think they have it now. I think subways in New York City and those areas have been helpful to them in Washington, D.C. But, you know, this is a new day and age where there's lots of technology. So I am a proponent for newer technologies. I think probably a vast amount of that money that's been spent already, and I've known people that have come and worked on the rail and they've left and they've started new lives for themselves and being able to buy ranches or homes in different states. And it makes me really sad to know that the money they made has left the state. I have heard of people working on the rail that have said, this is through secondhand stories, that they've worked on the rail and they were asked to slow down. I just think Microsoft has a technology that's been used in Paris. I've always thought that Hawaii would be a great place to like test pilot vehicles. I personally just bought a used Leaf and it's an electric car and I charge it, and I don't think it's an efficient means of transportation right now. I'm zero emission and I'm not using, burning fossil fuel, but I do see a technology advancement in electric cars and the possibility of using those things efficiently. But there's an example in Paris, France, where they set up, you know how the Bicky bikes are kind of set up? You like get a bike, I'm just assuming it works this way. You get a bike, you ride it wherever you want to, get off, and you can leave it there. Is that true? Does anybody know about the Bicky bike? Yeah? So in this car situation, the cost of transportation for the people that live in Paris has been reduced to like $100 a year, according to this article I read. And what it is, okay, just fathom this. You pick up the car in the morning where you live. It has the technology knows what temperature you like your car, what radio station you like your car, and then you get in your car and you drive into the city. You park the car and you go to work. Well, what's your car need to do? Wait for you? Somebody else then takes that car and they get all their personal preferences, what do you call it, like, hooked up in that car, and when they need it, they could pick it up, and then they go drive back home, and they leave the car there. So it's really efficient means. You don't have to own a car, but you can use a car with all the conveniences. So that's my understanding, is that Microsoft has worked with that software and it's implemented in Paris. You might be able to Google that and read about it, because that's how I found out about it. So I really do believe that there's more efficient technologies that we can employ to help us with the traffic solutions for the traffic. I live in Wynot. I used to drive all the way to Hulihe'e to work for like 10 years. I'm so tired of doing that, because I was so tired of sitting in traffic for 2 hours. Now I work in Wynot, so I'm all happy now. And I can use my electric car and just zoom around there. I don't even have to go to Costco to buy my gas anymore, so that's kind of nice. It's really nice. But yeah, I would like to look forward to future solutions, hear what people have to say, and really do, like, what do you call that, due diligence to look into the solutions that are possible for us. Because the future is coming. I just think of that Tesla guy making those cars that are actually automated. So when the car picks you up, think of that. If it could replace handyman, you get a Tesla car that drives to your home, picks you up, and drives you somewhere. Because they've got automated systems that you're not even going to have a driver. That's okay. Thank you very much. So I'm looking forward to seeing what you guys do, because all I do is talk a little bit and wait for the solutions.
Thank you. Elaine, you want to wait until Frank gives his presentation? Because I really think that I don't want to lose anybody. Frank has some valuable information for alternatives at this time. We've heard a lot of comments, which is good. We got everybody fired up. But I think people are waiting for what to do at this time. So, Frank, you don't mind. And we also invited other proposals of technology for this type of rail, but the only person that showed up was Frank. Go ahead, Frank.
My computer technician is putting it on, my wife. Just before I start, I just wanted to mention one thing. I sent a specific invitation to the directors of the Associated Students of the University of Hawaii. An invitation to the Associated Students, there's like 9 directors. Do you see any young people here? Somebody mentioned apathy, that's what we're getting. Anyway, I hope April,
that's you.
Go. Yeah, I hope you listen to this.
Okay, I will.
I'm going to read from a script because I'm too old to memorize. Because of continually rising costs and delays, the majority of residents on Oahu are now opposed to rail. We can do better. The data in this briefing were derived from publications by the inventors of superconducting magnetic levitation, or maglev. Opposing magnets levitate the train from its auxiliary wheels within seconds to a clearance of 3 inches above the guideway. Although the maglev 2000 system is capable of 300 miles per hour speeds, conversion of the steel wheeled New York subway system to 60 to 80 miles per hour urban maglev is also proposed and is the basis for this presentation. Next. Before going forward, a little history is needed. The City Council passed a bill in December 2006 that became Ordinance 07-001. It calls for a fixed guideway system to provide mass transit between Kapolei and UH Manoa to be funded by an excise tax surcharge increase starting in January 2007. It also states that the Council reserves the right to select the technology. A fixed guideway would accommodate some form of rail or bus system that would operate only on the guideway. For the next year and a half, the City Administration moved from a position advocating an open technology competition to one favoring steel wheels on steel rails. The Council, however, refused to provide the needed 5 votes and the Mayor took charge. This slide depicts the front page of a city-provided, taxpayer-funded information brochure that went to every household on Oahu in 2008. Note the term rail transit in 4 places on the cover page. You have to open the brochure to see references to steel wheels, an option recommended to the city by 4 hired guns from the mainland who outvoted rail opponent Panos Prevedoris on a so-called expert panel. This disinformation brochure was designed to associate rail transit with steel wheels, which is only a form of rail. In fact, the Federal Transit Administration, or FTA glossary, shows 9 types of rail. Automated guideway transit systems are fully automated, driverless, and grade separated, and can be rubber-tired, steel-wheeled, air-cushioned, or maglev. The Council never selected a technology, abrogating its responsibility and leaving the issue for a vote on the 2008 ballot, with steel wheels the only option for voters. It was approved by a small majority. This vote was used by the city to press forward with steel wheels and to prevent changes, while, at the moment, the city knows a new election would probably kill rail. City and HART officials always say it is too late. Federal officials would never allow changes to the key implementing document, the 2012 full funding grant agreement, without penalizing the city financially. HART refers to steel-on-steel technology as required by the FFGA. In fact, that term is not in the document, which refers to light metro, fully automated, driverless rail vehicles. That describes urban maglev, conversion to which is feasible and is affordable as well by staying within the available rail budget, as I will show you later. The most likely case for a penalty would be shortening the 20-mile plan. A change meeting federal approval can be made without financial penalty. Even though the FTA is part of the problem with its rigidity, it has encouraged out-of-the-box thinking to save costs. Conversion here to maglev is doable, but will not happen without legislators' concurrence to acknowledge rail problems and then meet with U.S. Department of Transportation officials and members of key congressional committees that authorize infrastructure expenditures. This would not be our train, but it's important to show. It is a high-speed Japanese maglev being tested at 300 miles per hour in typhoon-driven winds and rain. The reason is to show you technology based on the first-generation superconducting maglev patent held by Powell and Danby. This train now holds the world speed record at 374 miles per hour. It is being proposed by Japanese sources as the first leg of the Northeast Corridor from Baltimore to Washington, while the inventors, who now have a much more cost-effective second-generation system, cannot get any funding for development. National-level politics mirror the situation here. This was a Mitsubishi Itochu advertisement placed in the Honolulu Advertiser 9 years ago. This HSST system could have been our train, but was not allowed to enter the rail competition. With a top speed of a little over 60 miles per hour, this would have been a quiet train that would not require side panels, or even the wide bridge that you see on our current guideway, to reduce the sound of steel wheels on rails. In that regard, all maglevs are similar. These are photos of urban maglev systems. The first 3 are operational, and the Beijing system is undergoing testing. Similar systems are planned for 7 other Chinese cities, and the operational maglev in Incheon also is being proposed for St. Petersburg, Russia. No maglev is currently operational in the United States, but 21st century technology will eventually overcome the heavy steel wheel lobbying and general inertia in U.S. transit. This comparative view, used in a presentation for the HSST to the city, shows you the 14-foot difference between the guideways. Maglevs is considerably narrower than one used for steel-on-steel, making it also less physically and visually imposing. This will be important for downtown Honolulu. The system change would be made using conversion panels described in Maglev America, an implementation of American-designed maglev rail cars. The graphic shows the panel, part of the system known as Veray. that levitates and propels the train without need of an engine or electrical rail. Rather than third rail electrification, maglev 2000 uses an insulated cable. This shows how a maglev vehicle can ride on either a monorail beam or a flat guideway of rail's existing infrastructure, which allows for shared use by conventional trains. Magnetic interaction is vertically and horizontally stable and not affected by weather. When accelerating or cruising levitated, the train draws power from the electrical grid. As it decelerates, it converts braking energy into electrical power fed back into the grid. This is what a maglev 2000 train would look like on standard track. This is the freight version of freight. Here it would be on the elevated guideway, and a passenger version, of course, would have windows. The sooner conversion is started, the more money will be saved. Aside from the smoothness, quietness, reliability, and safety of using a maglev, cost savings are the keys for conversion. The next group of slides, provided with the assistance of the UH Engineering Department, show the cost for immediate conversion to maglev. This shows the cost associated with development of the first 10 guideway miles and contracts to date. $2 billion has already been sunk into the project. Next. The costs shown here are for conversion of the existing guideway for use by maglev vehicles, modification of the maintenance and storage facility, and acquired steel wheels rail cars. As an example here, 10 four-car trains, and renegotiation with the system supplier, Hitachi, Italy. It is important to note that the modified guideway also can be used by regular steel wheels trains if desired. This can be done only with maglev 2000 technology. This slide shows costs for design and construction of the last 10 miles as maglev-only guideway. 10 maglev trains and completion of the remaining stations to ensure meeting significant terms of the FFGA, 20 miles, 21 stations, and 80 rail cars. As with systems, renegotiation with Shivik Taylor Granite would not impact its $875 million contract, but would bring better results. This is what the American design maglev would look like on a dedicated guideway. Similar to a conventional monorail in appearance, but superior in performance. Maglev 2000 trains can seamlessly move from the modified steel wheels guideway to the maglev monorail. Next. The general costs already associated calculated by HART also are figured into the maglev project, with the data coming from the HART budget. Next. This summary gives a maglev cost estimate considerably less than the available funding of $6.8 billion that will be realized from 21 years of excise tax surcharge collections through 2027, along with $1.55 billion in federal support. Overall, the maglev conversion and construction costs have been padded above lesser figures cited by the inventors. We must take into account the price of paradise. The bottom line is that there is no need for any extension of the surcharge or added fees for rail. We have only the money we need. We have the money we need without a further burden on taxpayers. Terminating the project is a bad option. With $2 billion already spent, $2 billion estimated for removal of existing guideway and facilities, and $800 million to be repaid to the feds, it would only cost $1.06 billion more than the termination cost to deliver a full maglev system, rather than be left with nothing for $4.8 billion. While many believe that steel wheels rail costs will exceed $10 billion, the estimate is now $8.2 billion. This slide shows the 20-mile project development savings, and the long-term benefit of cost-effective maglev is a straight-up comparison with steel wheels for operations and maintenance. A lot of money that could stay in taxpayers' pockets. Next. The proposal for street-level rail to preserve the ambience of downtown Honolulu includes a need for an operator. The train will impact vehicle travel on our space-limited roads. The cost for dropping rail to grade at Middle Street while less than steel wheels would still exceed that for maglev, which will be fully elevated and automated. Proposals to convert the guideway for bus rapid transit include the need for on-off ramps, a road improvement that jeopardizes surcharge collections to date under the terms of Ordinance 16-1, which states that no monies received from the surcharge may be used to build or repair public roads or highways or bicycle paths, or to support public transportation systems already in existence prior to July 12, 2005, end quote. Buses on the guideway also will require repayment of received federal funds. As you can see from the numbers, buses also come up short in passenger movement, the key for an efficient transit system. Also note that PARC will not meet FFGA service requirements, a term listed as significant in the agreement. Ridership numbers for a system that would convert to at-grade rail were not provided at that group's July meeting. Next. Earlier, negotiating with federal officials was mentioned. This is an essential step for ensuring fiscal responsibility in our rail system. The city's recovery plan has not been accepted by the FTA, and, for example, at-grade rail proponents believe their option 2A plan would gain federal approval. That plan does not meet at least two terms of the FFGA: fully automated driverless rail vehicles and a 20-mile grade separated system. Those terms can be met by the maglev. A maglev does not use third rail electrification as described in the FFGA, but its insulated cable that feeds electricity to guideway propulsion loops is safer. It is worth noting that rail opponents have been bringing up both at-grade and bus solutions, but ignore maglev. Perhaps they do not want to avoid mention of a viable option. Next. This shows some of the realized benefits of maglev and what might be supported later. ARC claims its 20-mile plan will reduce weekday vehicle trips by 40,000 and reach 119,600 passenger trips by 2030. A comprehensive system could up those numbers considerably, exceeding forecasts. Rapid rail trips into Waikiki, and for a large number of the 20,000 plus student, faculty, and staff on the UH Manoa campus will make a great difference. In West Oahu, we can complete the original plan, increase ridership significantly, and take even more cars off the roads, especially with a large, secure, and free rail parking lot in West Kapolei. Maglev technology also can be used for feeder service to the main line. Next. Bringing in the project within available funding bodes well for future expansion. Forget my amateur effort, but this 32-mile route map shows the anticipated steel wheels guideway segment in orange, with a 10-mile turnaround point at the lowest stadium best. The maglev two-way extension through town, the one-way loop through Waikiki to UH, and the West Kapolei two-way extension to the Ko'olina Resort. This route plan is shown courtesy of salvagetherrail.org. It shows a change from the elevated plan in yellow to a plan that can be realized with available funds in red, with a turnaround point at Alapai Street, not Alamo Center. It also shows future extensions that would require new funding. Note that the routing is different to meet the group's goal to preserve the beauty of the waterfront in Honolulu. Next. The maglev plan can meet all of the parameters of the current project. Maglev also can accommodate other alignments such as Mauka, downtown Honolulu, to preserve view planes. That alignment also would reduce the number of burial remains uncovered. Blue line is one alternative, preserving view planes through downtown with the Mauka alignment to a station right behind Queens Medical Center, with the train not disruptive to hospital operations and continuing to Ala Moana. The red line shows direct routing to UH Manoa, and the green line show extensions to the existing plan, rather than the loop shown earlier, although the loop is preferred. Next. Let me repeat that realization of the current plan with maglev is possible with no new funding. Now is the time to pause the project, audit rail finances, and consider all alternatives. State legislators, however, may take some action this month to increase rail funding. Perhaps the first item will be a good faith removal of the 10% rake off of the general fund. Neither of the major options shown would bring in enough to complete the steel wheels plan, and adoption of both is most unlikely. The increase in the transit accommodation tax, or TAT, would be more palatable to residents. If that is the result, with the state telling the city to make do with the TAT and no skim, there would be new funding of $1.58 billion, increasing the total of available funds to $8.38 billion. Implementing maglev right now with the new budget would enable realization of the City Council's locally preferred alternative, or LPA, even extending it a bit to Coalina for ridership purposes. The 4 maglev LPA items shown total $1.251 billion. The maglev 2000 LPA Plus plan for 2030 would implement a system of 32 miles, 35 trains, and 31 stations for $7.112 billion, leaving a considerable contingency fund. Added pod service, such as SkyTram, that could be used in town as a feeder, also can be considered later. SkyTran is an American system supported by the National Aeronautics and Space Administration, with its first demonstration to be in Israel. Pods can be designed for 2 or 4 persons as well as for disabled people, and called for by apps on your smartphone. While limited in capacity for main or trunk line operations, SkyTran pods would work well as feeders in densely populated areas in the business and government sections, such as downtown Honolulu. Commuters could transfer from the high-capacity maglev at a transit center and take a pod to work their shop. The company claims SkyTran would cost only $13 million per mile. Even padding it to $20 million per mile, the contingency fund for the LPA Plus plan could be used to implement many miles with SkyTran pods and clusters on a walk. Maglev is a proven rail system that would be acceptable to federal officials. It is time for the city and Hart to produce a recovery plan that does not include an extension of the surcharge past 2027. The best plan would be based on conversion to maglev. Environmental impact documentation can be quickly modified because a maglev will have less impact visually, and environmentally. A new Hitachi maglev 2000 contract could produce the needed trains for the 20-mile system, and perhaps more for a future alignment extension. Hopefully the state will eliminate its 10% cut of the GET surcharge soon. This plan should appeal to local, state, and federal officials, especially those in the new administration who want to invest in infrastructure and use American technology workers. The signatures shown here are the 3 principles for maglev 2000. They are from a letter earlier this year affirming their ability to implement maglev in Honolulu. One of the passages of the letter states, quote, "We believe the cost estimates you presented were conservative and that a detailed design study would reveal that a superconducting maglev system could be implemented at an even lower total program cost," end quote. And another indicates that, our team is prepared to support a sponsored project led by the current AE firm, Prime Systems Integrator, or the City of Honolulu, end quote. This slide sums up maglev 2000. It is environmentally friendly, safe because of automated collision avoidance systems and magnetic stability, smooth running with no vibration, cheaper to operate and maintain, no pollution released into the atmosphere, and quieter than any other rail system. If you believe conversion to maglev can be done, you have a civic duty to say so to your legislators and your council member. If you do not, be willing to accept whatever is presented to you as a rail system for a walk-off. Let me close by pointing out that the members of our association include rail opponents who want the project terminated and others who support alternatives. But we all agree on the need for a pause and a full financial audit before our legislators find new ways to continue throwing good money after bad on rail. Mahalo for your time.
a friend did, that's your first alternative. Our group had gone to the city council, and we mentioned about direct bus route. If you have direct bus route from UH Manoa to UH West, like a carpool, you wouldn't have this kind of traffic problem. Now, I mentioned to city council, if you get a bus route directly from Waimanalo, directly into Veray near Queen's Hospital, you won't get that much traffic because the bus is going to keep going. The only way you can stop the traffic is the bus got to stop the next stop. And if there's so many stops, you're going to create a traffic gridlock. This rail project had created billions of dollars when we can get direct bus routes from Waianae into town, Nanakuli into town, Eva into town, Kapolei into town, and Cleda to North Shore. Direct bus route, like a great big carpool. That makes more sense than saving billions of dollars. You know, we mentioned this last year and the year before. Nobody paid attention. That's why today they complain about the traffic gridlock. Now what if supposedly one day the bus system goes really bad? You're going to have to force those people to ride the rail. And the rail not going to be cheap. You got to pay for parking. How many people know about this? The maintenance cost for the rail. If the cost is $140 million, what about the electricity cost? Do not add the electricity cost into the maintenance cost. Keep it separate so that people can see where the money going and coming from. Many times before, in the past, there were a lot of testifiers. And those testifiers made a lot of sense. The less money we spend in this time of age, where the economy cost is so high, the cost of living is the highest in the nation, our tax system is going to be next. The highest in the nation. So, if you people really have an idea of an alternative, we got to go the cheaper way. Not the rail. Steel and whatever they want to call it. Because the rail itself is bleeding everybody's dollars, cents, everything what you can think of. Come next year, your car weight tax is going to be up. Same car. Why should the car get taxed more when the year before you paid a set price? The mayor itself is a crook. He's bleeding you folks. So I'd like to thank you all, and I have a friend here. He's our senior advisor. His name is John Carroll.
Just a little background for John. John is a former state senator, and I remember him when I was a budget analyst in the Ways and Means Committee. And was back in 1970. But anyway, that's how I learned in terms of how to do budgets and so forth. My background is actually in human resources on the negotiation. But when I went to college, I was a budget clerk in the University of Manoa budget office. So by chance, I became a budget analyst, to be honest with you. But John here has been working on the issue of the rail accountability of it for many, many years. On his own as an attorney, he spent big money, trying lawsuits and so forth. Okay, and basically, I went to some meetings and found out what he was doing, and said, you know what, we kind of splintered. You know, we need to all come together. That's why we formed this association. And I'm going to let him speak, but I want to re-emphasize, before any of you go, we're going to give out solutions what we're going to do today after his presentation. That we got to be united. I encourage all of us to be a member of this association, financial accountability for real mass transportation, association. And it costs you nothing. We put our heads together, form a plan of action, what we want to do. Okay, with that,
Aloha, I guess. Thank you all very much for coming, Rod Cam and Roy and folks who brought this together. It's tremendous to see that citizens are really participating in our government, and I think it's going to make a big difference in the next go-around that's coming up. And I can tell you, I know that my age is an issue, but I will not be 100 for 12 more years, so I tend to make the best of my youth while I still have it. And I will be working with Roy and with the group to get done what needs to get done. I think the first thing that needs to get done, and I appreciate being allowed to speak, is it needs a forensic audit to be done by an independent auditor from the mainland. They're going to see what's happened since Linda Legal and this whole thing got started, because it's been crooked from day one as far as I'm concerned. They could have done an at-grade rail for less than $2 billion. And Frank Fossey wanted to do that, never could get it done. I'm sorry to get here so late, but I fly gliders for this Eagle. They're called Young Eagles, so young folks are getting interested in flying, and they need somebody to fly the gliders for them, so I do that. So anyway, if anybody had any questions for me, I'll be happy to answer them, and I'll stay back here. And I know it's late, and I'm sorry to get here so late, but I didn't want to miss this, so mahalo, thank you, aloha,
You know, I know some of you may be confused in terms of type of audits. Okay? And although the administration says part, or the mayor says we have audits, but they're not done independently. Okay? An audit is only as good as how the auditor can interpret the books. Let me give you a little story. When I was a city councilman, and before 2010, one day, I was walking back to my office in City Hall. I came across my cousin, my second cousin, and she was a CPA. Okay, and I said, what are you doing here? I said, oh, my company is audited in the city. I said, how's it doing? She said, oh, it's a mess. Because the bookkeeping is a mess. Okay? And so, in order for them to audit, they had to ask the city administrator, how do you keep your books? What are your categories and so forth? Okay? So in the legislature, where I really came from, in House and Senate, we don't do our own audits. We have an independent branch of state government called the Auditor's Office. Okay? That they do the audit. Okay? And they do the audit against the administration or against the legislature. So you really do not have an independent audit. You know, we can do again all the audits that have been done by the city and review it, but there's no people's group, citizens group that reviews those audits. And there's no public hearings on those audits either, when you think about it, okay? Now, the legislature, when there was an audit, the audits would be written out and public could exposed, right, John? Remember the audit that they did before when you were in the legislature? It take a year or half a year, and basically they expose it to us. It becomes public documents. That's not the same with the city. They don't show the audits of the HART part. Okay. Now, the several things I'm going to do by closing, if I may. Number one, I took so many notes and tried to put everything together so that you don't go away empty-handed, okay? So, Number one, if we look at the category of solutions, there are different solutions that has been mentioned. One is no rail, stop the rail, okay? Okay, and it's easy to say that, okay? And people question about the construction costs and so forth, the county pillars that will still be up, about the cost to tear it down or whatever, okay? Then another solution is alternative technologies of rail. As Frank had mentioned, that's one of the technologies. Okay, nobody else wants to come up today. We opened up the doors for all technologies to come up. None of them came up. Okay. So you have to be open-minded in terms of all technologies and the cost factor that's involved. Okay. It's like buying a car. I told the mayor in a public hearing. They say, you want to buy a Lexus. You like the Lexus with its features and so forth, but you only have so much money. You can't afford it. So you got to buy a regular Toyota sedan, basically. And they said, otherwise, how are you going to afford to buy that Lexus? He said, I'll steal money from the other side. Perfect. And this is what Bill 42 would do. Bill 42 would enable the mayor to take money from other services, commingle the funds, basically. So you got to speak out against that come Wednesday next week, okay, at the city council. And you don't want the council, which he has a majority, to say, okay, we'll let the mayor commingle funds without any oversight at all, okay? And you probably wonder, well, if the mayor has 6 votes at the majority, how can we overcome? We can overcome it by speaking out. We make it known that we know what this bill will do. If you do not, then they say, oh, people are blind, we'll do it anyway. Right? It's like, for example, if someone wants to steal from the store, if they see no cameras around, nobody watching them to steal. But they see cameras around, they still don't steal. Right? It's the same thing. And then the third solution is more efficient spending for the rail. When I say rail, I say rail in general because there's so many different type of technologies for rail. And then you can choose like any other technology that may be more efficient in spending. Okay? So there's 2 solutions right there. But in order to come up with a solution, a proper solution, which can fit into our pocket as taxpayers, so we're not overburdened. Remember, I told you that we are actually in deficit now, the state and the city. We're living on borrowed money. Okay, all these bonds is borrowed money. We actually bankrupt. Technically, we bankrupt. If you have to pay all those debts right now, we have no money. Okay? What Lingo did before, when she was governor, she had sabbatical days when employees had to work only Monday to Thursday because there was not money to pay for their wages. Okay? But then you had to recover by savings, basically. We still in deficit, to be honest with you. Okay, now. So we need to have a financial understanding of what we have. And the way to do it is have an audit. Rather only a forensic audit, I say we do all the audits, basically. Forensic audit is one where you believe that there's a stealing of money, okay? Besides having an audit of stealing money, there's money of misuse and so forth. But let's do it independently of the city. Have an auditor whereby it be from the legislature, like I mentioned. The legislature comes into special session in August 28th. We should have a resolution ready where we have representatives, senators introduce that and adopt that resolution to have an audit. And then tell them not to have any legislation to give money to the city. Okay, hold off until you find conclusion to that audit in January next year when the legislation comes into session. Okay. And then the federal government FTA, the Federal Application administration can't pull it off. They already give extensions to the city. So one more extension won't hurt. Remember now, the money's still there. And I told you about the government, whereby if you spend some of the money is still there on hold. Okay, but if they didn't spend any of the money from the budget, then they can take the money away, right? But, so the money is still there. Now, the money can be taken away even if only a fraction is spent and remaining. But then again, I don't think that would happen, to be honest with you, okay? Because you can't get the money back. So everybody will fight for having money in that pot on the side, like a savings fund. We mentioned about the Grassroot Association. They have an audit going on. Have people, yourselves, fill out that petition for an audit. Okay. And what we're going to do, the association, my association members, we're going to use that, the wording and so forth, and copy it. Because we need to sing one song, all together. If we sing different songs and tell what we want in the audit, we're going to need this stuff. The end result is that the legislature or the city council not going to adopt any audit because they're confused. So, and I mentioned in front of council again that we got to be all united. I tried to bring others united before and I had a hard time. I'm trying to keep the doors open so that we're not only one-sided to what type of technology, whether we open the floodgates basically. But the main focus is financial accountability. Once you have financial accountability concrete, then you can determine what the best technology is. Okay. And letter writing to officials, that's very important. After today, I'm going to put some notes together. I'm going to send it out to everybody who signed up. Those who attended, those who testified. They have more complete what I just said. Okay. Neighborhood boards. We need neighborhood boards to follow through on their resolution.
Don't we have more testifiers? Or was that the last testifier?
There were 2 neighborhood boards, yeah.
No, but was that the last testifier?
Yeah, right now, right. But anybody else want to say something?
I was going to talk at the end.
Oh, you want to? Okay, I'm sorry, I forgot to say you want to talk at the end. Okay, let me just finish and then you can go, okay? I will say a few more words at the end, okay? If you don't mind. Okay, I'm sorry. The neighborhood boards have to follow through on the resolutions that they adopt. And they send the resolutions to the city administration or city council. Be forceful with them. Okay? Keep on going after the administration and the city council. Don't give up. Just because you communicate once or twice doesn't mean that you should communicate more than that. Okay? Make it known that you're going to be on their tail constantly. And you won't give in unless you do something about it. Okay? You have to bug them. And with that, I think I said enough creative. But anyway, that's why I keep thinking about it. See what happens when we come together. We get directions, right? If we don't come together, then we're all going in different directions. Okay. With that, I'm going to turn it over to you. I'm sorry. I know you want to be the last speaker. That's why I didn't call you.
Yes, my name is Ed Wagner from Nililani. I do want to thank those who did put this meeting together to educate the public about what I believe is the biggest fraud that's ever been perpetrated upon the people of Hawaii. Okay. My name is Ed Wagner from Nililani. I just want to thank those who did put this meeting together to educate the public about what I believe is the biggest fraud that's ever been perpetrated upon the people of Hawaii since statehood in 1959. And that is, so I've already stated that part of the reason is the fact that the people haven't woken up yet, that they haven't marched on the Capitol and the Honolulu Poly, a couple 100,000 strong, to demand the changes that we see people are demanding in other countries around the world. And part of that problem also is the fact that for almost 60 years now, we've had a Democrat monopoly government that is not only on the city level, but the state level, is answerable to no one and is accountable to no one except for the wealthy power elite who control them like puppets and continue to spread them with money to make sure that the money keeps flowing in their direction. We talk about the audit. I think our best hope for next year and for the future is for us to encourage Representative Colleen Hanabusa to run for governor. She's a no-nonsense politician. She actually even reads the bills that she has to vote on in Congress. And I wonder how many legislatures and politicians in Washington Congress actually do that before they vote. She had a meeting the other night at Kapolei High School, and she's going to have another meeting at Kalama High School on Tuesday evening from 6:30 to 8:30. I would encourage you to go there and attend. She's very knowledgeable about all the world's issues related to North Korea, China, Russia, Iran, missile defense, etc. And I think she's our best hope for the future. We did ask her questions about the rail, and she does favor a forensic audit. She also stated that it is very likely that the legislature during its special session will in fact require and demand a forensic audit as part of the money that is being given to the city to bail them out. She also said that Washington is not going to do anything about this problem of the irreparable financial harm caused to our people by this project until after the legislature meets and until after September 15th, which is the deadline when the city has to come up with its financial plan to satisfy the FTA. Many of us have been in contact with the FTA, the Office of Inspector General, the GAO, contacted members of Congress, House and Senate Transportation Committees, even Chiefs of Staff at the White House and House Committee on Oversight and Government Reform, even on the USDOJ, trying to encourage them to conduct investigations. But Colleen Hanabusa said that's not going to happen, at least not until September 15th, if the default actually occurs on the FFTA. And I don't think the legislature will probably allow that to happen, although they should let it happen and let this thing sink down into the ground where it belongs. Because we also find that it's very likely that some of the columns are actually going to sink in the next hurricane and the whole guideway might even collapse. So I hope that you will attend Colleen Hanabusa's meeting Tuesday night at the Kalama High School and see what she has to say and ask her some other questions about the rail. Thanks.
I'm sorry, there's one more person, Elaine, she wants to speak. Elaine, you want to sit down? Is that like over there?
Hello, folks. Thank you for staying, those who have. I appreciate many of your viewpoints. I am a mother, grandmother, and I'm on a fixed income. And so I did feel that it would be wise for me to say a little something on behalf of people who wanted to come, but they are so filled with their activities at home, taking care of their children, etc., etc. Some things I thought about that did not come up, was that the safety feature, and recently Ed Wagner said something, our liability will be really tremendous if the rail falls through the sinkholes that are in Napihaa. Evidently, people are worried about that already, and I would not buy the rail knowing that there are sinkholes to fall into, but rather very tall areas to fall down from. And on the fixed budget, we have neighbors, and on creeks, there's many people are already leaving the island. I can see that they're giving away their furniture. They have no time to even sell it. And I am very sorry that these families have to go. I would prefer these families than the wealthy people who are going to be able to afford living on Oahu with all the housing so expensive. And as far as Ed saying something about we have to come together and rally, and I think that I like the Iceland's pots and pans revolution that I read about. It had to do with the bank's foreclosures. The people were very incensed because they were not justly treated according to the rules. And they all came out with their pots and pans and rattled it in front of their legislators, and they were able to get them all to resign. Isn't that something? We do need people to come out and rally. And as far as Hanabusa, I'm glad to hear that we have a strong leader who will help the people rather than the special interests. I would be interested in attending. Okay. And then I want to thank our sponsor, the AUDIT Security Institute, which Rod got for us, and Laurel and Nani Sun, who contributed our donation to help us with our flyers, and Jack Nicole, who has consented to do this video and put it on YouTube so the people around the world can see our mistakes and perhaps learn from it. And also, Shirley Seifert and her associate, John, thank you very much for coming and helping us to put this on Olelo. And it's also for Nathan with his wonderful, refreshing water, which is generated from the humidity in the air. Can you imagine free water from the humidity in the air? And he's brought it nicely. It's usually chilled, and it tastes very pure and wonderful. And he's right there. Thank you, Nathan, and everybody else. Thank you, Shirley, and John, and Aliki, and Jack, and our association, and MC, Rod, and our president.
I want to thank all of you for coming and have a great afternoon. I think this will be a good program to start. We need to stop this rail project. It's going to bleed all of us. So, once again, mahalo and aloha.